us for dinner.
Give us the clap. You ready? And we are live. The first episode of the Flat 5 podcast of 2022. It has been 4 to 5 months of inactivity because I've been busy. That shit happens. What can you expect? But I appreciate you three being on the show. We have my good friend Leo Montero.
What's going on?
We have Daniel Dortas.
Sweet. Hello, guys.
And we have Alessandro Montelli.
What's up, everyone?
And behind the camera, an old friend, Landon Altamirano, as our tech guy. He's our young Jamie for the show. And Landon, I was going to do a whole intro about everybody and all that stuff, but given the conversation as we've been setting up today, all the ice has been broken.
Pretty much, yeah.
We aren't even concerned
No,
with
not
like,
at all.
So tell me about your life. We're already, hitting it off. So we were just talking about this story of you and the Beats headphones.
Yeah, so you were saying that Landon, the guy behind the camera, has a big head.
Yeah,
and
big
that
melon.
he was going to break the headphones that he's wearing. And I had this, back in like grade 8, I went to The Source. If you guys remember that store.
Absolutely.
Still around.
And,
at least one.
I mean, one at the Eden Center. But
A Von Meal. So.
Yeah.
Well, whatever. I guess they're still around. Anyways, I was there with like a bunch of friends, and we were trying out a bunch of like the headphones and just the shit they had there. And I was trying on the Beats, and I don't know why they didn't work for some reason. Anyways, the guy behind the counter, he's like, "Oh, I just bought a pair of Beats. Do you want to try them for me? Do you want to try them?" Like his personal pair. And
shit.
I'm in grade 8, so
Where's
I'm
this
like,
going?
what, 13? I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. I put them on my head and I stretched them too wide. And if you know anything about the Beats when they first came out, they were like very hard plastic.
Yeah.
And they snapped right in the middle.
Oh my god.
Mind
God.
you, this guy had just told me he just got them.
Did you run
Like
away
they
from
were
the store?
brand new. Yeah, like I was literally there with like 5 friends and I ran out the store.
Oh, you
I
left
didn't
them.
even look back. I dropped them on the counter and ran out of the store.
So you run out of the store. Do you ever go back to that store? Do you ever
No,
run
I
into
was
the
so
guy
scared.
again?
I think I went back a few weeks later with my mom because she had to do something, and like I didn't want to tell my mom why I can't walk into the store. Something was very awkward, but like I don't remember much afterwards.
Yeah, right.
I don't know what I did after I ran out,
Yeah.
but I remember like running out and my friends being like, "What just happened?"
Oh my god.
Yeah.
I can't think of a
Snap
time
the
where
headphones.
that's happened. It's always friend stories. Like it's always like wrong place, wrong time.
Yeah.
you
But
know,
it was also like that guy's
innocent.
fault. Like I'm a 13-year-old. You're not
Yeah,
gonna give a
of course.
13-year-old your brand new $300 pair of headphones.
Back
Yeah,
then
that-
we were more. They were
Like
like,
you're
oh, yeah.
asking
oh my
for
God.
that.
Well, think about it. It's where Dr. Dre really made most of his
Yeah.
money, aside from actual music production. You know.
Yeah.
Merchandise.
Exactly. Man, so there's one thing that I've always wanted to have a conversation between us four together, and I'm sorry to exclude you, Landon, but
We love you, Landon.
we love you anyways.
He's
man.
still
I mean, I
here.
just met your
He's
friend,
still
Landon.
here.
Landon.
So, you and I met, me and Alessandro, you and I met at the Moscow apartment show
Yeah.
back
Right.
in early December or late November, maybe even before. Through
No, it would have been
Daniel.
November. It would have been
November.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because they do this show once a month.
Okay, there you go.
Yeah, because I was.
So we met
Yeah.
not too long ago, really, to put it in hindsight. I've known Leo since 2019.
Okay.
Yes.
Right?
Like that was the first time we
And
met.
I've met you 2019.
Yeah, 2019 as well.
2019, I met you through one of your other bands at Lee Palace.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And so one thing that I noticed between me and Leo, probably towards the end of 2020.
It's the sexual tension.
Yeah. It's either like end of 2020, beginning of 2021, is that there's this relationship, there's this like chemistry between like the photographer and the musician that is maybe unspoken. At least in the musician world or the regular world that gives a shit about music and all that, right? Like I always find that photographers that always take photos of the same artist are like music heads. They maybe not be musicians themselves where they play an instrument, but they are so well versed in genre and like in different culture. Like we were talking Midwest emo, we were talking like metal and all that stuff. And so Leo and I have a story on our come up and how we came to be in all the projects that we've been a part of. But I want to hear the story of you two and how you guys have come together as creative partners essentially,
Yeah. As
one.
right? As a unit of one, right? So when did you guys first meet? Like, what was your first gig?
So it's funny because you
2019
could probably
too,
say, no, 2019.
Or 2020, whatever.
He was following me on Instagram and would always like my stories, but would never say anything. He's the type of guy that'll respond to all of your stories just with emojis and never say anything.
He's about to tell all
And I'm
my
like,
secrets.
Yeah,
Marketing tactics. So this.
So to be honest, I was like, this guy's kind of weird.
Oh shit!
Because you don't say shit. You're just responding with emojis. I'm like, if you want to catch my attention,
I'm
say
a
something.
nice guy. I react to people's stories.
bro.
What's the
Put him
problem?
on the grill.
What the fuck is the problem?
10
with
minutes in.
And then he came to this bar venue. So I used to shoot this event called Writers from the Block. That would happen every second Thursday of the month. And this was like pre-COVID. And I was always at this bar, and he decided to come to one of them, and he just says hi to me. Like, that's literally all he
Did I?
said.
Yeah, I
He was
think
like,
so.
hi. But he was like at the door, like getting ready to leave, even though we had been in the
Oh.
same room for probably over an hour. But all he said was hi, and all I hear is like very thick Italian accent. And it's very dark, and I'm like,
Oh
Very
my
dark.
god.
yeah, it's a very dark bar. And I was like,
What's a dark
what?
Italian?
This is
Yeah.
weird.
What's a dark Italian accent?
No.
That's the first
The
time
venue
ever.
was dark. The venue was dark.
You-
No,
Oh, I
Oh,
thought you
the
meant his
venue
tone of
was
voice.
dark.
Oh, the venue.
Yeah.
It's like you're talking to like, is he like Batman? It's like,
yeah.
Italian Batman.
buongiorno.
So like I knew of him, but like very, very little. And then during COVID, I think this was like June or July, around when like BLM was happening, he made a song with a friend, and they were doing a music video for it. And it wasn't like your conventional music video. It's
Right.
the one where like everyone was like holding a sign, and it had like the lyrics
Yeah.
of the song, and he needed someone to edit it, and he asked me to edit it, and I was not doing anything around that time.
Right.
You know, COVID, none of us were really working.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, whatever, I'll edit this
Whatever.
video
Let's
for you.
give this
And
weird guy a
This
chance.
weird Italian deep
Exactly.
man.
It might be like I'm not much of like a video editor. Like I would love to get into video, but I don't do too much of it. But he asked me, I was like, yeah, you know, and you kind of need the money, you need to make rent.
Yeah, right. of
Don't want to
course.
keep asking Trudeau for money.
Yeah.
Daddy.
Yeah, Daddy Trudeau. And then, I went over to his place, and we were editing the video, and like 13 hours in, like I didn't leave his house until 2 a.m.
Wow.
And this was like the first time
It's like the first time you guys are actually hanging out,
Hanging out,
and
yeah.
you're spending
Yeah,
some.
it
But
was,
we weren't really hanging out. We were like working.
Yeah,
But
working
it
We were
felt
together.
like
literally on the
hanging out,
computer
yeah.
nonstop.
Damn, that's a
Yeah.
long session.
Yeah, it was 13 hours because like I wasn't doing anything. Like I didn't have any other plans for like the next week
Right,
or
right.
anything.
The
And-
next 2 years.
yeah, for the next 2 years, pretty much. And
Without
then,
knowing at that time.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd assume he wasn't doing anything either. So yeah, we spent 13 hours in just editing this video, and then I think after that he started showing me a bunch of like the music, his unreleased music, and I was like, whoa, this shit's actually really sick. And
Yeah.
it was like it aligned very much with like the music that I was listening to, and I just think through that we just kind of like became friends. I mean, he can tell his side on like why
was
he
going-
messaged me or
Was he
how he found me.
weird too? Was he like?
Oh, I'm very weird, but I own up to it. He hides it. He hides it. He's just
guess.
quiet.
I guess, yeah. No, I mean, my version could be that I was going to the songwriters' night. I mean, that was pretty much the one.
Right.
What was it? What was it called? Songwriter.
Writers from the
Writer from the
Block.
block. Yeah, so I was going to these nights just to meet people and network, meet musicians, and yeah,
Right.
of course, I had followed them on Instagram, I guess, and
And he
saw
followed me
it.
in real life too.
Yeah,
Kinda
And so,
Just trailing behind you.
Literally.
Yeah.
Who's this guy?
And all he says is hi.
yeah, at least I lived up to that. So anyway, I found his work and I found an interesting, and I had a feeling that me and him could become friends. I guess,
Right.
like he said, because of the music, the style,
Of course.
the way we both dress, he dresses or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, then I went to this night and I was, I guess, enjoying the night. And at the end, I just said hi. I followed you on Instagram, blah blah blah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then we just went from there, I guess.
Nice. So
fun.
there was a music video that you guys had done together,
Yeah.
It was in, and I wanted to hear more about it. And I was thinking of asking you prior, like, you know, the last time we saw each other at your show. And then I was like, well, I want to have them on the Flat Five in the new year.
course.
It's a better conversation, a better question to ask
Yeah.
on the show. There's a music video that you guys did. You had like pink hair.
Oh,
you
yeah.
had your
Yeah.
pink guitar.
Yeah.
I want to hear more about that story, or just the start of that story, and how you guys sort of brought up the concept on that, and everything that you do, you know, sort of planning a video like that.
I mean, planning that video was very hectic. I mean, I came up with pretty much most of the concept.
Mm-hmm.
I think me and Alessandro are very, like, much the same person in a
Yeah.
sense. Just because, like, we like the same things, we kind of dress the same. We grew up with, like, very similar music, like, even with the Italian music. Like, because I'm Spanish
Yeah.
or
That
Yeah.
is- that is-
Latino,
that
like,
is a
I
fact.
know a bunch of, like, the Italian music
That is a
that he
fact.
grew up with. And when it comes to, like, coming up with things, yeah, when it comes to, like, coming up with, like, concepts or videos or a photo shoot, it's pretty much very easy for me because I feel like I'm just creating something that I would like.
Right.
So he would like it too because we're like the same person. So it's
Right,
not like
right,
I'm
right.
creating a concept for someone that I don't know or don't know their interests or taste or what they're looking for. With him, it's just, what am I looking for?
Yeah, exactly. Well, that's the thing.
Right?
You guys are so aligned in everything,
Exactly.
creatively speaking.
Yeah, the
that-
more time you spend with someone, the more.
You become like them almost.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's like
yes,
there's a
yes
few
and
times.
no.
Yeah.
I mean, yes and no. We just are like this. Like
You
it
just
didn't
kinda
even
are,
matter
like,
about
from
us
the-
spending
from
so
the
much
get-go.
time together.
Yeah.
It was just the sole factor that even before we even knew each other, we were very much alike, right? And like our interests were aligned a lot alike. And yeah, to that video, we were literally just sitting in his living room, and I think he mentioned he wanted to do a music video, and he had no idea what to do.
Right.
And
Probably show you
like
the song.
literally off the dome, I was like, perfect, this is what we're doing. I knew exactly everything that we needed to do because I'm like, I love music and I listen to music 24/7.
Yeah.
There's not like, I'm on listening to music every hour of the day.
Right.
And I really like just reading into music. Like I can always find like a storyline within music. And I think that's what his music is a lot alike, is that like there's a story being told. So when there's a story being told in a song, it makes it very easy to come up with a concept.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So when I heard the song like finally finish, I was like, okay, there's something here that we can work with. And I just like threw out all the ideas at him, and he's like, well, I like that. Let's go with it.
Let's go with it.
Yeah.
And this is what I mean. This is
Yeah.
what I find with a lot of photographers that work with the same musician, in the sense that they're building the brand and the image of one particular musician. Is
Yeah.
that the photographers themselves are already invested in music as a fan. You don't
Yeah.
necessarily have to be a good photographer to, you know, take photos and create the digital
Of
image of a
course.
musician by playing guitar or piano.
Yeah.
It's just being so well versed in the music too. And that's why this guy is, you know, one of the kings, right? Especially you too. And I see what you do with Alessandro. Like there was that show that we went to at the cathedral,
Yeah.
and the first of
Which
all,
is not
the
a
venue.
church.
Yeah, which is not a church. Yeah,
Not a church.
For
It's a bar.
for
It's a
clarity.
bar called the Bar Cathedral.
Packed
You
with
go to
simple
drink.
things, simple things
I
to do.
mean, you could go there to pray. I mean, we're not stopping you, but
You can pray to the.
Well,
To
it
the
was a great
gods.
show though. Like you did what, 2 1-hour sets?
Yeah,
2:45
minutes.
minutes.
2:45?
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, and you had your Italian songs in there too, which
Yeah.
I think one of my favorite parts is you started playing this one song, and this woman beside us was like,
I
"Oh
know.
my God, it's that song!"
But
I
it wasn't
can't
even
believe
an
it."
Italian song. No, it was anything. It was one of his own
Anything.
songs.
It was his own song.
Yeah, it was.
I met him. I think he
Hey,
said
but you
he's like,
started
no, I
it,
don't
and
think
she's
he
like,
knows
"I
it.
love this song." And
Yeah,
she
she
started
was going
singing some
crazy.
lyrics. And then you started
I
singing.
can't
it.
believe you played that song.
Yeah,
And
and
it
she's
was a
like,
complete
you're
wrong
like,
song.
"Oh," and he's like, "That's not it."
I'm-
And the husband was like, "I told you." And I was like, it was like the funniest thing. But well, aside from that show itself was actually spectacular.
That's funny, believe it.
There's a
Yeah,
story
was-
to that husband thing that we can't tell
Yeah,
on the
we
podcast.
can't.
Oh, really?
But
We'll tell
it'll
you
get
off-
us in
off
trouble.
Okay. Well, I would still love to hear that. Of course.
We'll tell you after.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, to the viewers,
Yeah,
sorry
I'm
guys,
sorry, we can't tell you.
you're in, but you're not quite in.
This is a PG-13
We'll get
show.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We'll get there.
Yeah, anyway,
But,
she was so loud about it, and I was like, "You're lying." I literally said on the mic,
Yeah.
"You're lying."
Well, that's
this is my own song. No way you know it already. It's not even out.
Yeah, because we didn't even know that girl.
And then she
she
was
came
like,
with
"Oh."
a friend. Yeah.
Yeah,
When
I
she-
know.
when she figured that
the
she was-
exhale,
I'm
her
like-
shoulders drop. She's like, "Oh." And I was like, I knew it.
Well,
But
Oh,
the
that's great.
that venue itself is really nice, especially
Oh, I love
for
that venue.
photos. They have the whole mirror setup that they have off the side
Mm-hmm.
that both of you guys used like
Yeah.
very well. But the photos that you did for Alessandro, and you had like his name on the side of the photo and all that stuff.
Yeah,
I was
yeah.
like, these slap. And this is what I mean. It's like who you are as a photographer is already
Yeah.
so in line with Alessandro's like
Oh, 100%,
already like current
yeah.
image that all it does is it just like brings it up. Just makes it
course.
better, right? Now, to take a break for the conversation for a second, we're here at the Sound Rehearsal Studios, or soon-to-be Film and Sound Studios, with Ricky Singh. And we're in Studio 6 right now recording this podcast because these two lovely gentlemen should not make the trek all the way to Tottenham. Mom and Dad, let's move south, please. But Landon over here, I just want to make sure that we're not getting any feedback from the other instruments inside the mics. Nice, good. Okay, so we're all set up then. We're all really set up. So, Alessandro,
yeah.
what got you into music? Just in the sense where you're like, I know I want to do this.
This is one of those BBC
Yes,
questions.
one of those BBC questions. I told you they'd come up, but what was that moment that was like, I'm already playing guitar or singing or piano or whatever it is, and you're like, what was that moment that was like, I want to actually do this and do it right?
Yeah. It's funny enough because I kind of remember that moment exactly for what it was. And it was like a school trip in middle school. I don't know. I'm not going to say the grade because I'm still confused with Canadian way of,
Yeah.
Calling the grade school and stuff. Anyway. And yeah, we were in this bus and a famous song came to the radio from a guy called Tiziano Ferro.
Of
Right.
course.
You know him?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, because he's famous
Oh, right,
in
that guy.
Latin
Yeah,
America.
yeah, yeah. No,
Totally.
very well. Yeah, I went
Yeah.
out to lunch with him.
Yeah,
last
we're,
week.
we're both Venezuela. Yeah.
He's, yeah.
No, I
He's
went out to
super
lunch with him
popular.
last week.
Yeah.
Great guy.
I wish, man. Yeah.
That's a culture thing there
Yeah.
for us.
Exactly.
It's a lot of Italian artists that are
But it's like
super
Laura
popular.
Pausini. It's like
Yeah,
many
Laura
Yeah,
others.
yeah, yeah.
Pausini.
Oh, also,
Eros.
no, yeah.
Eros, you know
I dated
Eros.
her back in high
Ramazzotti,
school.
yeah.
He knows Eros. He loves Eros.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
That's like
I know
deep.
Arrows. I don't know the other two.
Man, these photographers are getting out,
Well, like,
man.
that's
They're all
like-
over the place, man.
At least in like we're both Venezuelan. like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's for us that was like at least for my like
Oh,
family that was like a
100%,
huge thing of
yeah.
our childhood is
Like
like
Eros
Spanish artists and like
Ramazzotti.
Italian artists,
Yeah.
including Tiziano, including Eros, including
Yeah.
Laura Pausini. That was like basically growing up with them because they actually do two versions of their albums. They do the
They do,
Italian
yeah.
and they do the Spanish version too.
So like this song that came to the radio, come up to the radio was "Non me lo so spiegare,"
Oh yeah.
which means I don't know how in Spanish would be.
No me lo
No, in
sospechaba.
English. What would it be in English?
You mean like I don't suspect it, right? Or something like that?
No,
In
I
Spanish.
can't
The two
explain.
people
I
that
can't
speak
explain
Spanish in
it.
the room.
It means I can't explain it.
Oh, I can't explain it. Okay.
So anyway, it came up to the radio and I was already singing it.
Right,
The song was brand new.
Mm-hmm.
And my friends on the bus were like, "Yo, you can actually sing.
Mm.
How do you know the lyrics already? The song just came out like I don't know, like 2 days ago, a week ago.
Right.
I'm like, I don't know. It was one of those things that you feel like, oh, I just had it in me.
You just have it in you.
You know, like.
Yeah.
And before that, of course, I took piano lessons, so I was already musically set up.
Yeah.
Like my
Musically
ears
inclined.
inclined.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So that was the moment where like I started, I guess, believing more in my singing voice, and I was
Right.
like, yo.
Those
I
are
can do
those are
this.
moments. I think more importantly for singers than any other instrument,
Mm.
because like your instrument is your voice, and your voice is you. Like when I'm behind a drum set, I could have like, the most messed up haircut, the most raggedy clothes, whatever. But I'm behind this like monstrosity of an instrument. You know what I mean? That I can let that sort of do the talking.
Yeah.
But as a singer, like that is. You are your instrument, right? So you need to have that moment that sort of says like, okay, I can do this, X, Y, and Z, and be
Yeah.
able to then pursue it. And now musicians have these moments all the time, whether it's on like a very large scale. Like for me, I was in, I know you would. Do you know Arcadia Academy of Music? You ever heard of them?
Arcadia.
Academy of Music. They
Yeah.
have it in Vaughan. and
One
all
of my
that.
friends works there.
Oh, okay, there you go. So when I was a kid growing up, that was the first music school that I
Shout
went
out to Carmine, by the way.
there you go.
That's been mentioned.
Shout out to Dario Casulo, who's now of B Sharp Music, my first drum teacher and music mentor. And so they used to do this like summer program where you would be in a band with like other musicians in that school.
Yeah.
And it was either, let's say for argument's sake, like 6 weeks long, like 6 Saturdays for like a couple hours. We did like Santeria. We did
Love that song.
what's the tune from the Black Keys? Little Black Submarine, and we did The Ocean from Led Zeppelin. Like those are the three songs that we did, right? And it was like on stage, you know, I'm sitting there doing this really fucking hard shuffle, and I'm playing way too fast, right? And then by the end of all of it, and everything went well with the show. Yeah, don't worry about that. That'll be fine. It'll continue to record. If you want, Landon, I'll give you the password. If you just give it a little swipey wipey on there,
Swipey
or
wipey.
even the space bar.
Oh,
There you go.
it's the.
It's just the timer for the
Take
monitor.
that soundbite.
Swipey wipey. That's
Swipey
what my mom said when she
wipey.
would, never mind.
When she would
It's,
what?
it's
Never
the
mind.
it's the
When
new
she
modern
would
Dora.
what?
Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it.
That's
Yeah.
for
Me and
later.
my mom have
You can
a,
put
have
that
a
on
weird
for the set.
relationship.
Yo,
Wipey,
swipey, wipey.
That's for the second.
all the DNB, all the drum and bass.
Swipey wipey. Okay, whatever. Back to the.
Okay.
So yeah, so long story short, you know, it was like I played these three songs, you know, with this band that I had just met, you know, 6 or 7 weeks prior, and I was like coming off stage, and I remember being like, oh my god, I played way too fast, you know, like I did too much, etc., etc. And then it was like every parent aside from mine were like, great job, like oh my god, and it was at that I was like, oh my god, like I thought I messed up, but I actually did really well. Like I can do this. So then the following summer, when we did that program again with a new band, I was like, yo, I got this shit down, you know. And every musician has this to some sort of scale, but I've never heard a photographer about their moment. Like, what was the first click of the camera? You know, that was like,
That's so
was
bad.
it a selfie with the
That's not
iPod?
like anything
Or
special.
was
something?
during a
Anything
porn.
special.
Yeah.
This is
Wait,
a
you
shooting
go
real
first.
story.
You go first.
I actually didn't pick up a camera until my third year in college. So I was around 22 at the time. I'm currently 27.
Okay.
You know, like I always played with like my parents' cameras growing up, but I never really paid attention to it at all.
Yeah.
And the only reason why I have a camera today is because I like to go to festivals, music festivals of all kinds, particularly EDM. I was a big EDM head. Usually around the time where it was like peak, 2012, 2013, 2014. And I always saw those GoPro footage videos because GoPros were relatively new at the time, or like becoming popular at the time.
Yeah.
So they were like a fashionable item to have, and also you always see those rave videos
That's
of
so
like
true.
the super wide, like
wide,
9mm, like fisheye.
Well,
like,
because you get them all, like, that's a huge thing in the EDM scene.
yeah, it
Especially
is.
when you stand behind, like, the DJ.
Yeah,
and you
it's,
get
like,
that super
from the
wide
top,
shot.
yeah.
Yeah.
But basically, it's like, okay, like, oh, like people walking around the festival grounds, just filming everybody, filming the DJs getting to the front. And I was like, I want to do that. Like, that sounds fun, right?
Yeah.
So I bought myself like the cheapest GoPro I could find. It was
Yeah.
probably like $150 or something. And then I realized that editing video is a bitch.
That's.
It's my nemesis for that matter.
Oh,
I
facts.
love recording. I can record a video, but I do.
keep
I
the
can't
files.
even look at Premiere Pro.
There's so
I
much
cannot
more
look
that
at
goes
He
into
has
YouTube.
he has a chip on his shoulder with iMovie. He doesn't want anything to do with
Because
iMovie.
there's so
do
much more
not.
that goes into it with, like, transitions. And if you want to do transitions, you've got to film it in a specific way
yeah.
so that the transitions work. There's also color grading. Are you
Yeah,
shooting this in RAW? Like, there's way more when it comes to video than photo.
Yeah.
Photo is just like you have two things. You're going to shoot it in JPEG or RAW. With video, there's a lot more.
Endless,
there's-
yeah.
And JPEG is the best way, right?
Get out of here.
He's trying to pick a fight already. But basically, I was just like I can't do this. Like, fuck this. I don't
Yeah.
want to do it, right? I have all this footage, so I started going like frame by frame, and then I realized that I can actually take the frame out and export a single frame. So I was like, okay, like I'm at Veltfest this weekend. Like I just gonna find like the coolest thing I have on all of this footage, and you can at that time I was like maybe I don't know like 60 frames per second, something like regular. It's not something super slow motion, but you get moments where like the picture is sharp, it's neat, and they're still actually caught like this person kind of hit one of those like bouncy balls.
Okay.
But like the hand is basically covering like the face, so you can actually see the face, like the smiling face on the bouncy ball,
Oh,
and it looked
sick.
really cool. And I was like, okay, I'll take the frame of this and post it on Instagram, and everybody was like, this is really good. Like, do you have more of this? So I started like doing that, just taking my GoPro and just filming everywhere. not even thinking that a camera existed. Literally just recording and then taking the stills, right?
chose
thing
the
that
hardest way to
existed
take
first.
photos.
The hardest
Bro,
way.
man.
Yeah.
The hardest way to
Dude,
take
went
photos.
This
backwards,
is true.
bro.
This is a true
You want to
story.
take a photo? Get a video camera and then export a
record
single
it and then-
file.
Yeah.
Don't
Just
get a
record
camera.
your entire day and hopefully
Yeah.
something
Yeah.
there
And then when
will
he
work
makes
out.
videos, he takes 1,000 photos and crops them all
So
together
when he
to
does
make
photo
10-second
shoots, he actually
videos.
just records
I
video.
just record video.
Oh my
then
god.
my brother, who had a camera from before, I guess he was trying to get into like like shooting birds and like
Interesting.
animals, right? But he never really like picked it up. He's picking it up
Nature.
more now, but like at
Yeah.
the time, it was like an old Canon T3.
Okay.
Like super basic, like DSLR camera. He's like, I don't use it. Do you want to use it? Like, he seemed to be like recording everything and like taking the stills or whatever, right? And I'm like, yeah, sure. And I basically never left it since. It just became an obsession almost. I'll
Okay.
take it
Right.
everywhere, and then slowly you get the upgrades, right? Okay, like
Yeah.
this camera doesn't do it anymore, and I need to buy new lenses. I need to buy
What do
new
you shoot with
cameras.
now?
I have a 6D Mark II.
Okay, sweet.
And then a plethora of lenses, like that one right there. Shooting is the Tamron.
Tell us about this camera, Leo. What do we got here?
is 24 to 70, 2.8. Just pretty standard.
Not bad.
Like,
I know
it's a good
exactly.
lens.
I have no fucking.
I know.
That's
all
all
the
the
details.
camera.
So
For
when
all
you
the
shoot that-
camera
what-
lingo,
When you shoot like music related stuff, what lens do you use?
I like to use the 50 a lot.
But why a 50?
I just for example, because let me disclaimer: music photography is relatively new to me.
Oh, okay, that makes sense.
Yeah. So for me, it's like it's a learning curve for most
Yeah.
of it. My bread and butter used to be cityscape and landscape.
Okay.
So like most of my work is shooting stuff that doesn't move.
Makes
right?
sense.
building.
And then some studio portraiture here and
Wow.
there. Studio portraiture here and there, lighting, all of that kind of
Yeah.
just came after. And then just when I started hanging out with Ian and like, getting into this world, it's like, okay, like this is a different beast altogether,
course.
right? You don't have a margin of error almost,
Yeah.
right? You need to know your camera well. You need to know what's gonna happen, what the light looks like.
Because I think shooting music related stuff is one of the hardest when it comes to photography. And I say this because one, the lighting is garbage.
Oh,
100%.
Two,
don't you love the bovine?
I hate the bovine. No,
Best
no,
venue
no,
in
no,
Toronto.
no, no.
The-
Don't
I
even-
just love you only walk in and you only have a
Awful
red and blue
lighting.
light and that's it. Like even like
But
the
it's
bartenders.
funny that you say that because I've shot at the bovine like 3 times, and by the 3rd time, you kind of get a hang of what you're looking for
Yeah.
and how to work
Yeah.
around that shitty lighting.
Yeah.
So, if someone like is starting out would go to the bovine, those photos would look awful. So like the first time I ever shot at Sneaky D's, awful,
Oh, yeah.
god awful
Yeah.
photos because they have the worst lighting, and I shot there not recently, but right before COVID, and my photos look great. I was like, this is fucking sick. But looking back, like 4 or 5 years ago, those photos were the worst I've ever taken. But it's because I had no idea what I was doing.
Right.
Let me get. You
Yeah.
use a lot like 24mm prime.
No, so I use mainly, realistically, only like a 24 to 70.
Okay.
But the reason I use a 24 to 70 is so that I can get I love getting expression on the person's face.
Yeah, so you
So
wanna
I love
be able to
being
zoom.
able to get super wide.
Yeah.
I love getting super close. And when you're shooting concerts, it depends on the venue. Sometimes the person's a lot higher because the stage is higher.
Because it's lifted.
So you're looking up at the person, right? So you want to be able to zoom in. Sometimes you don't have that face to face.
Right.
So it's you need that zoom. If you
Right,
have a
right,
50, I feel like you're just kind of limited. And if you're in the photo pit, you only have a certain distance that you can walk back and forward. So with a 50, if you walk back, you might still be too close to the person that you can't get a full body or be able to get the entire band in the shot. So with a
True.
24 to 70, you have a complete range of length that you can kind of work with, and you can kind of get everything.
Right.
And it's mainly what most people use. It's either a 24 to 70 or a 70 to 200.
200.
70
Yeah.
to 200 is a lot closer, so you can get really close, and that's usually what you shoot at festivals because
Right.
it's a massive stage. The person's a lot further back, especially a drummer. I mean, You know more than
Yeah.
anyone.
Oh, dude, I'm
the
always-
drummer's always in the back.
Always.
It's
The
always the
drummer
hardest
always
person
gets
to
the
shoot.
worst lighting. The
Always.
drummer always gets the worst photos.
Bro, I'm gonna just on the two
course.
toms in front of me. I'm just gonna attach a ring light right in front and just be like Tron
Please,
mode. all the
Honestly,
time,
that would
you
help
know?
us out so much.
Yeah, for real. Or just one on top.
Yeah.
Like if you just brought like an extra mic stand and you just hook
You're
up
just
a
gonna have
bulb
two
to it.
softboxes right beside
Yeah,
you.
just like those two domes. I'm just sweating away.
Oh,
like
shit.
this fucking drummer, this guy
actually-
take a shower and go
that's-
straight to the
speaking of-
He's
gig.
gonna
Like,
start setting up studio lights on stage as a band performer.
Before I even
on
set
that
up the
note,
drum
on
set.
stage, like just
work, though.
stage build. That place in Brampton, what's it called?
spot one,
Spot One,
the venue.
the venue.
Yeah, Spot One.
Um,
Shout out to Mile End for having
Big
one of
shout
the
out,
best
Mile End.
shows at that venue in like the last.
oh, and
like,
that
2
whole
years.
set. Shout out Cohesion. Shout out Single Wound.
Yeah, single, and is it Nightwell? That's the other one.
Nightwell was in
Yeah.
Oh,
there.
that will suck.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like him.
That they basically have like a stage that kind of pops out, and there's no
Okay.
there's no rail basically, like so people can go on all angles.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
probably the best place to shoot.
Yeah,
any
and there's
drummer.
also a
That's like
riser
the-
for
that's
the
like the
drummer. So
horseshoe.
yeah,
Yeah, so
the
like-
stage has like a first level,
And then
and then there's a
level.
second level just for the drummer. So the
Oh,
drums
so
are way
the drummer's
up.
on like a
Yeah.
higher ground.
Yeah, so that's
Interesting.
true. I totally forgot about that.
Yeah, and then
Yeah.
on it, but for some reason that day the lighting was just immaculate. Also,
Okay.
shout out Bar Cathedral for their lighting because it's
Oh, it's
Yo.
great. It's one of
What's his
those.
name?
Yeah.
Is Alex, right?
yes,
Yeah.
I think.
That dude, I talked to him for like 10 minutes. Instant gangster. Love that guy. The dude's dope.
But yeah, like it's also about like what the venue, knowing your venue, right?
Yeah.
That's exactly it. Like once you start shooting at a venue multiple times,
Yeah.
it doesn't matter what the venue looks like. You kind of get a hang of it, and like you really need to know your camera because your settings are never gonna. They don't make any sense,
yeah.
They
right? Because like so, I went the traditional way, and I went to college for photography.
Where'd you go?
I went to Humber.
Lakeshore or
out
North?
No, Humber North.
Oh,
Or
okay,
North,
sure.
yeah.
Yeah. So like I went the traditional way of like learning like through the books, learning from like a teacher telling you all the specific rules of how to be in quotations a photographer.
Right.
That honest to God nowadays means anything because like as a photographer you to be the perfect photographer, you need to know how to break the rules. But in school, you need to know how to follow the rules. So it's a
Yeah.
little weird. So like with music photography, that's where you're breaking the rules. You're not following anything that you would learn out of school.
Mm.
No, it's
Right.
true.
Yeah.
Like, for me, for
Experiment, you
example,
gotta-
I actually use that lens a lot as well, the 24-70.
Okay.
When I shoot mostly anything, including concerts, I like the 50 because it
Yeah.
gives me that extra light, and I like
Oh,
taking a
because
lot.
it goes down to 1.8.
Yeah, 1.8 or 1.4 or whatever it is. That's
Yeah.
camera lingo, but it basically
Yeah.
Yeah, I
It
wish
lets
I
it
opens
be.
up the lens
Please
more like comes
explain
in.
for us
Yeah.
uneducated folk
Um,
in the.
But
Spend
basically,
another hour. Just
Yeah.
explain.
sometimes I tend to find that like that lens particularly is quite sharp.
Okay.
But not as sharp as a 50 sometimes. And I like
Yeah.
do a lot of portraiture. So
I
like, I like to get
apologize to interrupt.
close.
I have to ask, what does sharp mean, bro? Because I hear sharp and I'm like F to F sharp. Like, I'm like those are notes. I'm like that note is now a little bit spicy.
Sharp is just
But
how
what does
clear-
sharp mean
how
in
clear the
photography?
image
how
is.
clear the image is.
Like if you can
Oh.
zoom in at 100% and your
and
eye
still
is still
see.
completely in
Yeah.
focus.
Oh, okay, sure,
Yeah.
that's true.
And once you're getting to that like lower aperture,
Hmm.
you're basically only focusing on one specific thing. Everything else kind of gets kind of blurry.
What does
and
aperture mean?
aperture is.
I'm
Okay,
sorry,
so
I don't know. I
let's-
want to know.
A lens has this thing called a diaphragm, which is
bored, I'm
basically a
outta here.
set of
Microphones.
blades.
Like microphones. There, okay. now
Basically,
speak
like
my
a set
language.
of blades that kind of conjoin together into like, basically to let in a hole that where the light comes in. That's I don't know.
It's a nice hole. Sorry.
Your aperture is a measurement which this hole either gets bigger or smaller.
Oof.
Whoa. Is PG-13, guys.
Now I'm paying attention.
It's getting hot in here. Leo, how's that hole of yours? Put it away.
Yeah. Okay, so
where
this
were we?
open
This
surface
open surface.
with the ability
That's
to
what we're gonna-
expand or
that's what we're
shrink.
It can expand or shrink.
The more it shrinks, the less light it lets in.
All right.
And the more it widens, the more light it lets in.
Still keeping on this metaphor.
Can't wait for my mom to hear this.
Shout out to all the moms that support their sons and all the creative stuff, because
And
they're
all
the
the
first fan.
stupid shit we do.
All the stupid shit.
Oh,
we do.
100%.
We should honestly have like a shout out counter on the Flat Five, because every time we do something new on the show, we're always like shouting out people that like are somehow affiliated with something that we're talking about. And I'm like, we need a shout out counter at the end of the day.
should
we
If
like
we
it,
can get
but-
to like 20 shout outs, we'll give somebody like a free Flat Five like sticker or t-shirt or something like that.
Can we get the little?
Oh,
You need a soundboard. Oh my god, you definitely need a soundboard.
You know what, Lanny? We should get a.
That'd be hilarious.
We should get one of those Akai, because so right now we're recording this podcast through Logic.
Yeah.
We should get an Akai, and I'll just get like a MIDI controller, just make a pack.
Do you guys know who Jeff
do that.
Whittick is? He's in the vlog squad with David Dobrik.
Which
Like
one
the
is that?
good-looking one with the slick back hair. He's the barber. Anyways,
Yes,
Oh, yeah.
yes, yes,
He
yes,
has
yes.
his own podcast, and he has like a lot of like sound bites, but they're
Nice.
like spot on with like the specific things people say, and then his like sound person will like click in and it's
Yo, I want one of those,
hilarious.
because like one of my favorites right now, that for like the sense of like
the
comedy
Joe
or
Rogan
entertainment.
experience.
Oh, yeah, that's a whole thing. But is Cody Ko and Noel
Oh,
Miller.
that's hilarious.
Those guys
yes.
are
I
so
love Cody
funny,
Ko.
and I love like when they just like they integrate like some sort of like current meme
Yeah.
into their video, and they do it so well. They do it so flawlessly. So that is something that we'll do on the Flat Five. We'll get a little
Nice, you
get a
should.
little MIDI controller.
Yeah.
Just one of those beat pads.
I have the keyboard, like the Akai keyboard, but not the
Not the launch pad? Yeah.
Well,
we should get one.
I'm not sure if you're coming through the mic. We got to get Landon a mic, honestly. We got to get the camera guy a mic. Basically, Landon's got some gear because he's the equipped guy. So,
Yeah.
Aperture.
I mean,
is
that's
a
a
whole-
very tricky subject.
Yeah,
It's
a whole-
tricky 'cause
Clearly,
it's something that like, I don't
it
think we
gets
really
big
need to
and-
really delve into.
It's clearly
It gets big and it
controversial.
gets-
It's
yeah,
bigger.
yeah.
But like, I'm gonna bring
It's
it
a
back.
big
Can I bring it back to
subject.
like the normal conversation?
Yeah, for
Because
sure.
people are gonna get bored very easily. No one cares. Your camera clicks a button. You're good.
Yeah, that's all you need.
That's it. And you
The
take a photo.
iPhone.
You click, then you shoot, and then
yeah,
boom, photo.
Exactly. So you were asking that photo that we took that basically his was being at Veld, and mine goes way back because I've been taking photos as long as I can remember. I took Comtech in high school, which is communications technology, which is your video and photo class. And for that class, we were basically always given like projects to do,
Right.
and we had to go out and shoot a bunch of random things. And my random thing that I went to go, so pretty much I would literally just go around my neighborhood, and I would just take photos of like anything, the fire hydrant, the flowers, the sewer grate, and I think this might be just a Canadian thing, I don't know, but like the all black paved
Driveway.
not the highway, the garage, not the garage,
Yeah,
the
the
driveway.
Driveway.
Oh, that's what he said. That's what he said.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry. I don't know what I heard. I heard
No, because you
highway.
said driveway. He's like, not the highway.
one
I was
thing
like,
right.
what?
It's this weird
He's just out
Italian
on like
man
the
again.
427, just like
right in the middle. Gotta get that shot.
401. God, there's so much fucking people on this highway. God damn.
There's this like weird like thing in the middle of it. I don't know. It's like some brown thing.
Oh, I know what you mean.
I don't know what it is.
Yeah, it's like, what is it?
It's
I know
for
what you.
water or something. I don't know
Yeah,
what it is.
it's the thing.
It's the thing.
It's-
Anyways,
The
water
gabagool in the driveway.
Exactly.
They come and go to the-
Yeah, it's that random thing. It kind of looks like Landon's hole, but not Landon's hole. Or Leo. Why did I say Landon? Leo. Two L's. You also have a hole.
Oh my god.
A hole for you, a hole for you.
You get a hole. You get a hole. Everybody gets a hole.
Anyways, aside from Leo's hole, yes, that thing in the middle of the driveway, I took a very close-up shot of it. If you want to get technical, I took a macro shot of it.
Nice.
And my teacher like hyped me up, and he's like, "This is a great photo. I love this photo." And I have it printed because we had to get it printed for school. And he like gave me like an A+ or like a 90%, and I was like, fuck yeah, whoa, I'm good at this. And it was like the shittiest thing. It was literally like 16-year-olds nowadays are taking photos of like models and stuff like that, and I was freaking taking my driveway.
The gabagool in the driveway.
Pretty much, yeah. And yeah, from that I was never really like, it's kind of sad, was never really into much. Or didn't really have many hobbies. Like my main hobby was watching a lot of YouTube.
Fair enough.
And yeah, that was like
what
the
about
one
the
thing.
Karate Kid?
Pardon?
Karate Kid.
Yeah, that too. I did do karate when I was younger, but
Yeah.
that was way younger. I was like 8. Anyways, yeah, I was doing that, and then when it came to going into college, I was like, I don't know what I want to do. I have no idea. I had a camera, and I
And
like
a
taking
hole?
photos, and I was like, I have no idea what he said, but what did you say?
He had a hole. He had a camera. Had a hole.
Why did he say
Sign
nothing?
me
He
up.
said nothing. He said nothing.
Sure,
Don't worry.
let's go with that.
I have a big lens. What am I gonna do with
I got
this?
my aperture nice and big.
Nice and wide.
Nice and wide.
Wide
Right.
open.
Nice and wide.
open.
Oh my God.
Sign me up.
I
Humber,
will
let's
never.
go.
I could never watch another like tutorial on YouTube the same way ever again after this.
That's great.
So how many years did you like? What is the average? Is it what, a 2-year program? 3? Like
So it
how
was
long
so
do you-
it's
do you
pretty
do
it's pretty
photography?
interesting. So like the Humber program is a 2-year program because it's very hands-on and it's a college. So most colleges, as everyone knows, is more hands-on. So it's
Yeah.
only a 2-year program. If you go to Ryerson, it's a 4-year program because unfortunately they spent 2 years just reading books, which I
They
don't
do.
agree with. I don't think when it comes to arts, you should be trying to follow rules. You should be
100%.
learning the basics and then learning how to break them. It's the
Yeah,
same thing
you
with-
learn the tools and you learn how to apply them to apply them in your own way.
Exactly, and
right?
it's like the same thing I think with music.
100%.
As you learn things and then you learn how to break the rules to do your thing because everyone has their
Yeah.
own style.
Well,
their
you,
own
you
thing.
learn the form to
And
then be formless as
And
they
if
say, you know?
everyone's following the rules, everyone's things are gonna look the same.
Yeah,
Yeah.
100%.
Right?
I feel like it
On that
applies to
topic of
everything in life.
conversation,
Anything creative, especially.
Yeah, go for it.
On that topic of conversation, following up to like after you finish, how did you find your style? Because I do
How
see
did
your
I
style.
find my
You're-
okay,
you,
I'm-
you love yellow tones,
So I'm very specific. I'm
Yeah.
very like
but it's a style that's to you though. Like,
Yeah,
props to you.
so
It's
I
something
have-
that like it not.
right.
I
mean,
don't
get
see
that.
it
I get
often.
asked that a
Yeah.
lot
Yeah.
because I'm very specific. I have like OCD when it comes to like my photography. It's the one thing in my life that I care the most about.
Right.
And I think he wore that yellow sweater for me. But
I didn't, but
yeah, he's copying my style.
wearing the same
yeah,
stuff.
that's, oh my god, that's
Yeah,
so
we
true.
style
You
swapped.
guys are like home and
Yellow,
away
black.
jerseys. Full kill
Yeah.
bill.
It
You
was
know, but
it was
like
just from
dressed
like
at the
shootings.
Olympics.
What you
We
say?
won't talk about this.
So, well, yeah, okay, but like, because I don't want to deviate from what you're
Yeah,
saying.
yeah, no, that's fine.
Leo has a whole group of friends out in Cambridge,
Mm.
and they have this thing called Beer Olympics, and it just
Oh.
so happened that he invited me over to, hang out. Long
I
story
could
short,
never finish Beer Olympics.
Can
Yeah,
I
it's
sign
like-
up?
Brutal.
yeah,
I don't know what it is.
The
but-
Olympics for drinking.
Yeah, it's Olympics
Yeah,
for
I mean,
drinking. So
jeez.
essentially, I show up, and he's in a black sweater with
Yeah.
khaki shorts and some kicks, and I'm in like a black dress short with khaki shorts and some kicks. And 3 hours went by, and then someone took a photo of us, and we looked at it like, oh shit! Like
Did you
we're
not
wearing the same
realize?
thing.
We didn't
Like, we didn't
realize.
even realize.
That's
Nobody else
hilarious.
does
That's
it.
great.
Anyways, that's
Yes,
Beer Olympics.
back
so,
to
as you were
it. You
saying,
said how did I get my style? I was just very technical when it came to my photography, and when like I kind of started to take it way more serious was kind of after I graduated college. I started to follow a lot of like the PNW, like for the Pacific Northwest photographers out in like Portland and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And if you know anything about like those type of photos, they're very like nature-esque and they're very blue. So I like a lot of like my early work was very blue and it was kind of following that path.
Are you saying blue in terms of like
The tones.
the tone? Okay,
The
because when I hear blue,
tonality
I
of the
think
image.
like
What do you
jazz. I think like music, like feeling blue.
No,
Okay.
I mean,
And I was like,
it's just like
I was
the
like a sad
temperature.
photo. I
It's
was like,
kind of
oh.
like if you take a photo in the winter and you take a photo in the summer. The summer's gonna look a lot more yellow and green. The winter's gonna look a lot more white and blue and
Right.
dull.
I see.
Right?
Okay, I see.
And that's kind of what you were getting from like all of those like nature photographers out in Oregon and Washington and stuff like that. And then I started noticing that like at that time on Instagram, everybody was trying to do that.
Yes.
Because like the biggest photographers were those nature guys, because
Right.
it was cool to be able to see someone who was able to travel the world or travel to all of these cool things and get paid for it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Right?
well, of course.
Even
That's-
up to today, like we all
that's the
kind of
creative
want to be
industry,
able to do
right?
that in our own aspect.
Yeah.
And I kind of got bored of it because I felt like I was just following a trend and I was falling into like looking like everyone else. And I kind of had this realization that I wanted people to be able to know it's my work without having my name on it. So if
That's
you
a very
could
important thing to have.
if you could
Absolutely.
put 1,000 photos on this table
Yeah.
and have mine hidden in there, and someone like Ian could be like, without knowing it's my photo, be like, oh yeah, that photo right there is Daniel's,
Yeah.
without knowing.
Absolutely.
That
Yeah.
that principle I think is one of the most important in any type of
Yeah.
like, creative
Any-
industry.
yeah, any type.
Whether art, music, film,
Yeah.
photography, right? Anything like that. To just be able to have your own style that not only, is yours in that sense of it
Exactly.
being yours, but it also works
Yeah.
well. And people dig it. Like,
100%.
that's like, that's one of the most important things,
Yeah.
right?
So then, like, yeah, going back to like the blue. So if you know anything about when you're editing, temperature, it goes green to magenta or blue to yellow. And because I was doing a lot of blues when I started, I was like, let's try yellow. And I don't know where. Oh, I remember. I was doing a photo shoot with this girl named Tasha, or some people might know her as Lil Spice on Instagram.
Right.
Really, really talented photographer. She also shoots musicians nowadays.
Nice.
And we did this photo shoot, and we had the train coming right behind her. We were on train tracks. Honestly, do not do that. It's not very smart.
do this
do
very
not, do not, do not,
Feel
do
like-
not do photo shoots on train tracks. Because it's very
I
dangerous.
feel like every photographer has been there. and
Yeah,
every
we've all done
photographer
it,
has
but like,
almost
don't-
died doing
don't
this.
do it. Don't do it. Anyways, yeah. So we were doing this photo shoot, and right behind her, this train had passed, and it was like one of those like cargo trains. So it had all like the orange and like the red like cargo shipping containers, and because of the time we took it around like it was fall. So like all the leaves and everything in the background were orange. It's like, whoa. And it worked with the yellow temperature, and that's kind of what I was going for. It all looked very warm. And
Right.
then we took another photo by like an orange house. And I was
Oh,
like,
okay.
okay,
Yeah.
something's working
Yeah.
here. And I noticed immediately what I liked in that photo, and I ran with it. I took it
Nice.
and I ran with it. And for the next, honest to God, for the next like 3 years, I was adding yellow, orange, or red into every single one of my photo shoots.
Nice.
So it went from like a yellow road sign. I rented a yellow Volkswagen bus. I would have the model wear a yellow sweater,
Where do you
yellow
get one of
shoes,
those?
a yellow
Yeah, I know.
hat.
Where do you get a bus for that?
Ah.
Like just somewhere, like just
No,
just
no, no, no.
chance?
So it's
Was
really
there, like,
funny.
a
So
bus store?
because I was shooting so much yellow things, there was this Facebook group for models and photographers on Facebook, and some guy had posted his yellow Volkswagen bus on the Facebook group, and it was yellow. And because I was so obsessed with yellow,
Yeah.
all my friends had commented on this guy's thing, tagging me in it. There was
Nice.
probably like a good like 10 comments, everyone tagging me, until the guy like reached out to me personally. It's like,
Hey, bro.
hey, I think you would
Do you
like
want
to
this
rent
bus or
out.
not?
Yeah. He's like, I
Wanna
think you would like
swap?
to rent out this bus. And yeah, he drove it all the way from Brampton to Toronto. And I ended up shooting with that bus, and then yeah, through that, like a yellow fire hydrant, anything that I could find yellow in a background or add yellow into the photo, I was adding into it. And then
Right.
it became so consistent with my work that people could be like scrolling on Instagram or looking at a photo and knew it was my photo because what I had done to the photo.
Right.
Right? And I think a lot of photographers kind of do that, not to that specific thing,
Yeah.
because that's kind of hard to keep. Because if you're working with a client, and like nowadays, I pretty much only work with clients because I need to make money.
Yeah, of course.
It's kind of hard to add yellow into it
Yeah.
because like if I were to work with someone like Ian, he may not like yellow. He
Yeah.
may be like,
Which I
wanna-
do, so you're fine.
I may want to do a purple photo shoot.
Right.
And I'm like, okay, cool. But the photo shoots when I was starting out were all basically about me. It was my style, my idea, my everything. Now that I'm
Right.
working with clients, we kind of had to put both of our heads together to come up with a final product. So I can't be like, I just want it yellow.
Yeah,
I can't
of
be
course.
selfish, right?
Yeah,
So like I
absolutely.
have to work with kind of what they like. So nowadays, it has a lot more to do with the editing rather than what's being added into the photo.
Right.
So the temperature is kind of more yellow. But now that, the past few months, right before we went into like this last lockdown, I realized that I really like red, and red worked really well with concert photography. Because, I mean, you may notice this, that when you take a concert photo and it's blue,
Yeah.
the person looks very, like just dull, like sick.
Yeah.
Because it makes them look, and if you're like of a lighter complexion, it makes you look a lot lighter.
Right.
Which doesn't look well. And red is, I think, the closest to most skin tones, right?
Interesting.
So, like, if you look at my Instagram, a bunch of, like, the last, like, concert photos, the last, like, probably, like, 6 concerts that I shot, a lot of it was red because I was going back to my old style of shooting yellow. So now the red
Makes sense.
kind of works with the yellow. So, like, I'm kind of going back and, like, making it all kind
Yeah.
of...
What's your Instagram, by the way? You should.
Oh, I was
shout it out.
literally, dude, you read my mind. I was like, man, it would be so
I
appropriate.
think we should all shout out our
to
Instagram,
do a little.
not just
Well, I
me.
mean, anybody
Well,
that's
yeah.
that's watching this right now knows mine because
What is it? I don't know.
mine's.
I don't remember.
It is at Ian F Music, and then the podcast is at Fly Five Podcast. But viewers know that
Please
already.
tell me the ad stands for fuck.
No, it
Ian
stands for
Fox.
flat.
Ian Fox.
What?
That'd be great.
Bruh, that honestly should be my nickname.
Yeah, Ian Fox.
There you go, Ian Fox Fregamini, man. Fox on the Flat Five. What's yours? I don't even. What?
What?
It's Truffle
How do you-
Images.
Truffle images.
Truffle.
Aren't
Yeah.
you guys friends? How do you forget his Instagram?
Because
That's
I-
weird.
Forgets everything.
I forget everything, man. I got the
Wow.
memory of a breadcrumb.
But
like
here,
that
can I ask
tiny
about
little-
Not only-
truffle?
Welcome
White
to my
truffles
world.
is actually a fun story. So since you have your yellow tones as kind of your signature, I kind of fell in love with black and
Black
white.
and white,
photography.
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
My
A lot of your
entire-
stuff is black and white.
Literally all of it. So
Yeah.
like the commercial work that I do, or let's just call it commercial for clients, obviously color. But for
Of
my
course.
own personal posting, is always black and white.
Yeah.
I actually started that in winter because I basically just playing around, kind of figuring out life and photography. Figuring
Yeah.
out all of the softwares, Lightroom, Photoshop. I found that my pictures, I like them, and especially in the winter, you're shooting snow, trees. 'Cause I used to do a lot of still photography, like just landscapes.
Yeah, things that aren't
I-
moving, if you guys don't forget.
Yeah.
It can't,
They
it
can't
cannot move.
He's just
And
like
also,
tree.
it needs to have a
It's
very
apples
wide
and
hole.
oranges, guys. Apples and oranges.
Not moving
Not
and wide
moving.
holes. If you know anything
White
about
holes
Leo.
and not moving. Oh, yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Yo, the next guest that comes on the show is gonna be like, "Do I have to talk about holes too to be funny?" I'm like, no,
Actually,
guys, please,
yes,
don't
it's a
worry
We're
about
gonna have to
recommendation.
censor like half this podcast.
it. Yo,
already.
dead ass.
Anyways, back to your holes.
But
the promo.
yo, this guy.
Oh my god, the promo will literally just be Ian
Yeah.
Fox.
I think we should go back. We should go back to the music.
Oh,
yeah,
Looking about these holes too
Man,
much.
these photographers.
So I really
man.
I really like winterscapes in black and white. So every winter I would switch my Instagram to black and white, and then we'd go back to color and black and white. And then one day,
You dirty dog.
I need to like
somebody
breathe.
collect this guy.
This episode is all about photography jokes.
Yeah, literally.
And then one day I just decided, you know what, I enjoy more photography in black and white, so I'm just gonna keep it black and white, and that kind
Yeah.
of became my thing. Everybody's like, oh, Truffle's like, oh yeah, you do the black and white stuff. I'm like, okay, at least
Yeah.
somebody recognizes that I just do that, at least for my own personal
Yeah.
like posting.
Well,
right?
you have your truffles like main page.
Yeah,
which are
truffle
kind of
images,
mixed,
yeah.
but it is
But
predominantly.
do you find
black
like
and
when you
white.
do black and white, it doesn't look as interesting? Because like for me personally, like I love color. I love
You're right.
being able to add add so much things into the photo. I guess you're not, because your subjects aren't moving. You're not doing anything. I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
But well, like
Shot
yeah, it is what it is.
No, right, but like, do you not want to see like color? Like, why specifically black and white?
I just like the content. I fall more in love with the content of the photo. Like, sure, color can be content on the photo.
Yeah.
It can basically dictate what the theme is, or
Right.
what the mood is. But if you're shooting a lot of subjects, like which I started doing, quite often.
Yeah,
I like
right.
emotion. I like I like to kind of ponder
course.
into the image.
Yeah.
And I feel like taking away the tonality of it kind of just lets you see something deeper.
Yeah.
And a lot of people don't
interesting.
really notice if you don't really pay attention, but black and white can also dictate tonality in a photo.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
Right, and I'm not talking just about like the mood of black and white versus the mood in color, right?
Yeah.
I'm talking about like you can have a high contrast black and white photo that gives you a completely different mood than more like a flat black and white color, right?
Exactly.
Like there's a lot that goes into it, and I kind of like that piece of the art. Right?
No, of course. And I mean, I shoot in black and white. So, like, on my camera, when I'm shooting concerts, I mainly just shoot in black and white. Because the thing about concerts is that there's so many, like, crazy lights and everything going around that it gets very distracting when you're looking at the photo. And sometimes, if you're shooting a specific concert and the crazy light is hitting the artist, it just looks completely red or completely blue. And you can manipulate color in post, but you can't manipulate light.
Correct.
Right? So the
right.
reason I shoot in black and white is so I don't have to look at the color, I just look at the light. So I'm just focusing on where the light is hitting. And if you know anything about photography, the main thing is light. If you have shitty lighting, you're going to have an awful photo.
Right.
But you can
right.
have
Interesting.
amazing light and terrible colors, and you can still have a great photo.
That's
Right.
correct.
So, what was the last gig that you shot? What was the last gig that you did? Was it the El
Right before
Mocambo?
this
Yeah, this
last
lockdown, the most
lockdown?
recent one.
Yeah, so it was at the El Mocambo. I was not shooting for anyone. I just kind of brought my camera.
Right.
It was at the Elmo for the Lemon stage,
Yeah.
and yeah,
And your last gig was Cathedral.
Yeah.
And then there's a
What was
difference
my last
between
gig?
show versus like the YouTube stuff that you and I do.
Yeah.
But I mean like last like in person
Live.
live, gig that you did. Would have been something with Agoria or something?
I would have
I would
been.
imagine so.
I would think so. It's
Yeah.
either that or the Cicada show. Where was it? Cicada at the Garrison.
Yes.
I think that would have
thank
been
you. That
my
would have
last
been
one.
the last
Oh,
one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
hate the Garrison.
Yeah, that's also
We're
fun. venue.
shooting.
You hate it in terms of like photography,
Photography.
like photo.
I
or-
also don't like it as a venue.
Oh, really?
It's
It's
like,
a
yeah,
weird. It's one of those weird ones. Like if I had to pick between like Garrison versus like Bovine and Sneaky D's, like not
But
even just like
Bovine
Cap.
and Sneaky D's have their quality that makes them like a punk
Yeah,
band.
I know.
a
The
punk
thing
venue.
for me is, well, the thing is too, like the Garrison, like usually has like this very like artsy music that plays there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's not like Sneaky D's is like emo
Punk,
night.
emo,
You know what
yeah.
I mean? Bovine is like anything from like hard rock, black rock to like
to like hip hop.
to hip hop. Exactly, right?
Did you say Black Rock?
Yeah, like leather. You know what I mean? Not like
Never heard Black Rock.
You ever heard of black rock before?
What
Bands
is
like
Black?
oh my god, there's a band that I'm just listening to right now. They have this song called "I Was a Kid."
Like black metal? No.
No, like black rock.
Huh.
Oh my god, what's the name of this? Okay, I'm gonna have to check my phone, which is
Yeah,
something
you'll show me.
I never wanted to do on the show, but it's eating me alive.
Oh, you're doing
Because,
it? Okay.
because this
We're
band
doing it.
is so good. Oh my god, what are they called? They have a song called "I Was Just a Kid" or something like that. There's a good friend of mine.
I was trying to say
Definitely not Simple
They are
Plan.
called
That's what I was thinking. Simple Plan.
Nothing But Thieves. That's the name
Oh,
of it.
nothing
Oh,
but thieves.
damn
Oh,
it.
yeah,
I
yeah,
love
yeah.
that band.
Yeah.
Didn't
Yeah.
he give
I
you
saw
that?
I saw them
That was
live.
Anthony English. Or was it you?
I think it was him because he listens to Nothing But Thieves.
I give who? I give
Remember
The
that I
recommendation
posted
on
his
your
Instagram story
I
of
thought
like
it was him.
I had a couple covers in mind, and I was like, I want to do covers where people are like,
So
yo,
that's
like,
Black Rock?
Well, yeah. Well, this is what I see people using
Wow.
the term. Like, it's not even
Never
something
seen
that
it.
like I like normally use, but like, what's the other? Is it Pineapple Thief? There's a drummer named Gavin Harrison. It's very much like black metal. Like, you know how you have like black metal? The people are starting to use that terminology for rock, or have been. I'm only maybe
Yeah.
starting to see it
But
now.
black metal is more like satanic stuff.
Exactly, right? But it's like
I don't know
it's-
why you would call black
this is
nothing but
exactly
these
it.
black.
I'm
rock,
I'm
but
using the word in the sense of like, well, this is what I see
like
other people
dark,
saying.
like
Dark. Well, look at like the Nothing But Thieves
Yeah.
last album cover. You know, the woman on there. Like, it's just that very like dark tone in general. You know, but that band is dope, and that's a record that I need to dive into more. And it's funny. So were you? I don't remember if it was you or if there was. I have a friend named Anthony English that I think was the one that sent.
I honestly thought it was him when he.
Somebody.
Doing
I
what?
remember.
Like,
Well, there was this Instagram story that I posted,
Yeah.
asking people like, "Yo,
To
like,
recommend for drum covers.
recommend me songs," and it was everything from like Mac Miller, The Spins, to
Literally.
like Wii Music. You know what I mean? Like, which
I
I
wanna
know,
see
I
Wii
know
Music.
the
Please do
the
that
one
cover.
made by Geek Music. I know the whole song. Like that's one of the first covers
That's-
coming out. Best of Both Worlds by like Hannah Montana to like
Yes.
Knocked Loose. Or Nothing But Thieves is on there too.
Yeah.
what song was it?
Well, I
You remember?
recommend.
The one off of, from Nothing But Thieves is called "I Was a Kid" or "I Was Just a Kid" or
It wasn't me because I don't even know that. So
it's. I think it's off their most recent record,
okay, yeah, I haven't.
and it's really good. I mean, I want to dive into it
Well, I
more.
recommended Youngblood, and you said you don't like him.
That's what. Well,
Or
this
you're
is
not really into him.
yeah.
Oh, yeah?
I know
He's
what it
my,
is.
honestly, God, my favorite
Do I have to show
artist,
you?
and I've seen him live. He's probably wearing a Youngblood shirt right now. He
shirt? That'd
is.
be
Yeah,
fucking
there
lit.
you go.
There you go.
Yeah.
Indeed, you are nice.
Yeah.
I don't know why. Like I don't know. I like his music, but it doesn't get me excited. And it's not to discredit his
Wow.
music because like it is good music.
I can get you
But there's-
excited.
Oh, I know you can.
Uh-oh.
But there's
Here we
something.
go again.
Yeah, literally.
He knows.
Suddenly he's widening my hole now. And it's just it's all over the
Yeah,
place.
what's happening here? yo?
But I don't know what it is. Like
Yeah.
I've been finding a lot where in any like main genre, like you can just say rock and include anything from Blink to the Chili Peppers to the Strokes. You know what I mean? Like whereas us as we're fans of those bands or are at least aware of the music, we
Yeah.
can properly categorize the subgenre. You know, like
Yeah.
the British rock versus like California, like the like the what is it, Southwest or West Side, whatever you want to call it, right?
Yeah.
To like the San Diego sound, which is Blink and et cetera, right? There's all these like umbrella terms for genres and then the subgenre like categories that these bands fall into, or even like a specific sound like the Warped Tour sound, which is a
Oh, of
production
course.
style, or the John Feldman sound, or the
Yeah.
current DTA Records Travis Barker sound with
Oh, that's
Kenny
right,
to
yeah.
Jack Kays to Willow and all that stuff. Like
Yeah,
you just know like Travis is a guy that has that. He has that sound that you don't even really need to know the person on the microphone to know that Travis is playing drums. Like he's just,
Yeah,
but it's not
exactly.
just his playing in terms of what he decides to play on the kit. It's the production style behind it, right? And so what I'm finding is there's more and more like bigger artists that are emerging in subgenres to eventually just be known as a pop artist. That I'm just like, there's just something in these artists that are like, it's just not giving me this push to make me like crazy excited. And I don't know what it is. And you would actually want it to be the opposite. You would want to be a fan of the emerging. Oh, easy. Yeah. Oh, yeah, easy. It's like 5 something now.
But
But yeah,
for-
like this is the thing. Like
I'm gonna counter argue you on Youngblood specifically
on,
because
on Youngblood. Well,
yeah.
this is to finish my point. What I'm saying is, it's not that I want to not be a fan of Youngblood. My whole
Yeah.
thing is, it's more ideal to actually be a fan of the artist. There's just something in the actual
But
music.
are you like a music head? Like, are you like, do you listen to music because you're like so into like
I don't-
everything that goes into it?
Yeah, like, well, the thing is, I don't listen to music and like love it just because it exists as music. Like, I need to. There's an internal part in my brain and my soul that needs to be touched in any genre. So then this is why like there's a lot
So
of
when
rappers
the
that.
SoundCloud rappers came out.
There are some SoundCloud tunes that
Yeah.
I just fucking love because the beat, like everything just aligns the way I want it to. But then there's
Okay.
other rappers like that
Yeah.
I don't care for. Like the Migos are cool. I like Roddy Ricch. Lil
Yeah.
Nas's Industry Baby, that riff, dude, I'm tapping
that's
that
a great song.
all
That's a great
day.
song.
And my thing is,
Yeah.
it's like it's like everything with an artist needs to be aligned, image, what they're saying in
But
the
I
music,
think his
what they're
image-
doing for it for. But this is
like,
what I'm
from
saying.
a-
This
as
is
a-
for
as
me
a-
specifically,
but as a
right?
fan of Youngblood, and I'm a huge fan, his image is insane.
Oh yeah, don't get,
Insane.
he does
That's the thing.
everything correctly.
Correctly.
Like, all of what
And
he
when
needs to be doing is
speaks-
perfect, and that's
when
why he is what he
speaks,
is.
He speaks to like a younger audience, so
Absolutely.
maybe that might be it.
Yeah, it could
But,
be.
like,
It could
that's-
very well
that's-
be a
it's a-
generational gap.
it could be a generational gap,
maybe,
for
but,
sure.
like,
Yeah.
he speaks a lot on like being yourself, being open.
And this is the thing.
And-
So growing up, when I was in high school, that message resonated a ton. Like the Warped Tour message of like be yourself, all that. There's part
Yeah.
of me now that is who I am, and I've kind of grown out of that. Like I don't
Of course.
need an artist to tell me that
Yeah.
to do
Yeah,
it
that's
anymore.
fair.
You know.
The thing-
But don't get me wrong, he does make good music. I was literally today we were
Yeah.
doing a shoot for Mount Warehouse. I was singing "Parents,"
Oh,
like
sweet.
all day.
Well, that's his
but
most
that's the one
popular
that.
song.
Yeah.
Well, that's the one that, and I like Strawberry Lipstick the most.
Yeah, okay.
That's my favorite
Yeah,
tune.
that's a good.
And there's a lot of good songs. Grandson, all the
Yeah.
shit that he's
But
doing
that's
with
the
Tom
thing
Morello,
about
it's
Youngblood,
like,
though. That's the thing that at least catches my eye, and I do like the music because that whole album is called Weird, I believe, right?
Yeah.
It goes from My Chemical to Beastie Boys
yeah.
Yeah.
to like punk.
Yeah.
Hard
There
rock.
is a very strong and very
hip-hop.
strong genre fluidity with him that works well.
Yeah.
And
Well,
he
like,
knows
that's
what
the
he's
thing.
doing. Like he's not only just a talented musician,
But it's-
he knows what he's doing. You
I
can
need
tell.
to just bring it back to the topic of the podcast, is that him and his photographer have probably one of the best relationships I've ever seen.
Oh,
You
yeah.
need to
Agree.
watch. I mean, I don't know if you know who this is, but Adam Elmakias.
Yes.
He's a very
Yes.
famous music photographer, and he has this podcast called "Don't Shit on the Bus." Because he's a touring
touring
photographer,
photographer, yeah.
and if you know anything about being
Yo.
on a tour bus,
Band Kid vibes
you can't shit on a bus.
on the way. Oh my god!
So
all
he
like the national
interviews-
competitions.
Yeah, so he interviews Youngblood and he interviews Tom Pallant, which is his photographer.
Right.
And they just have the greatest. I would say it's a lot like me and Alessandro, where their styles, the music, they also grew up in like the same part of England.
Right.
They are just very much alike that when it comes to coming up with concepts, it doesn't take them anything.
Yeah, well,
It's just
this
kind
is
of
the
second
partnership
nature
that
to
you
them.
want, right? The friendships that you want, especially
Yeah.
in that.
Well,
right?
that's the whole thing. That's the chemistry, right? If they can think
Yeah.
as one, they're gonna get they're gonna get what they want out of their image.
But
It's still going or what?
do you
Oh, yeah.
feel
Oh yeah.
Do you feel like you have that relationship as a photographer with someone else? Like, is there anyone else you've worked with that you have that relationship with the same way you would have with Ian? Because I feel like it's
I
not
feel
that
like
easy to
to
find.
a
Like,
degree,
I walked in
not
the
the
right
same.
place.
I feel like Ian is probably the most chemistry between photographer musician I have.
but what caused
it's about the
that?
aperture.
Because I don't think we haven't touched that subject. It's like what
Well,
caused you two to connect so much.
It was
The holes.
to put it bluntly. We
Yeah.
have a mutual friend, Sabrina, like coworker
Shout out
turned
to
friend.
Sabrina.
Shout out to
Shout out,
Sabrina,
Sab.
fantastic
Sabri.
singer.
Yeah.
Fantastic pianist.
Exactly. And she was working at the music school that I'm still working at.
Okay.
And I had a gig at Monarch Tavern with this band I was playing in called Cicada.
Nice.
And so, you know, I invited her. It was an EP release show. It was one of the big deal shows. You know, you got to get everybody out, you know, to the show. And,
Of
and he
course.
was there. And we essentially met and hung out. And the bands that I was playing in at the time and the projects that I was a part of, like, we already had somebody.
Yeah.
And anything YouTube related was just myself. And then I started seeing his work, and I was like, not only is this levels above what we're currently doing,
Yeah.
but man, could this guy do just as well in music as he does in like the non-moving objects, landscape, whatever you call it,
Non-moving
right?
objects.
And so,
Statues.
at least from, and I won't speak for you, and at least from my experience, it was essentially just like we wanted to up the digital imagery of everything that we were doing,
Yeah.
all like the band photos, Instagram posts, music videos, YouTube stuff,
Just
like
all
him
your
and I have
content.
everything, right?
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
it's just as important to hit the subconscious of a viewer to be like, wow, this looks great, and then they continue to watch, right?
Yeah.
So you want to get people who are not only like equipped but also educated in the experience sense of how to do something, or at least people that are just hungry to explore and do the work, right? And so, you know, I just brought him on with the artists I was playing with before, and at that point I was just like, let's fucking go. And I don't know what it is, but I would say at least like 2 months into you and I working together and, you know, being partners and also friends, it's like
Yeah.
the type of guy that like you feel like you've known.
Do you feel like
for-
you're because you're both from Latin America? Do you think that kind of helped? Or not at all?
I honestly,
I feel
it
like-
was more so like him and like your music taste is a very wide net.
It's
like you'll
yeah, I would
literally
say it's
listen to
huge.
anything.
It's a gigantic.
And
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
in the same way. It's just it's not wide in terms of like it's wide in terms of reaching a genre, but I don't listen to everything. I listen to the genres of everything, but like 2 or 3 artists. You know,
yeah.
I don't listen to 7 artists of metal. I listen to 2.
Yeah. I'm
You know?
Okay,
Whereas
yeah, I'm
he
kind of
listens,
that way, yeah,
he
yeah,
listens to like like there's so much music. Like I have a good older friend by the name of Mars. He's well, I shouldn't say this because it's not out yet. Okay, forget that. So, anyways, there are people that I'll be like, oh, a buddy of mine or someone I know is working with this artist, or they show me this record, and Leo's like, how do you not know this already? And I'm like, well, one hand, I am taking the time to just learn how to play the instrument. So like, I'm not spending all my time listening. But one of the things that I felt so connected to Leo early on is just that like, the way we see things in perspective and how we, approach the things we want to do is very aligned. So meeting an outcome is super easy. Like it's just
it's almost unspoken of.
Yeah,
It's
we
one
don't
of
even
those
like
things.
we just go. We just get it done, right?
Because
So-
you're both going for the same thing, and you both.
Yeah, and
Alright.
it's basically we're hungry, we're dedicated, whatever you want to call it, right?
Yeah,
like it's
exactly.
something clicked between us,
Ghostbuster.
right?
Yeah. no, that totally makes sense.
Right. And
Well, how do you feel?
I feel the same way. Like that one, like we met at the Monarch.
Yeah.
And then I didn't see you for like
A year.
6 months or a year.
Yeah, it was like
That was like,
until-
oh hi, I'm Ian. Like we hung out, and that was pretty much it. And then
Were you shooting that show at the Monarch?
no,
No, you were just attending.
So you
I was
just showed up
attending.
as a
yeah.
as a
Just as a
viewer.
friend,
Yeah.
of a friend.
Yeah,
A friend of a
friend.
viewer.
Yeah.
That's on college, by the way, right?
Like I
That
wasn't
venue?
really.
Yeah,
like,
it's in Little Italy.
I wasn't even really thinking about shooting concerts at all.
Oh, so you weren't
Yeah.
even doing it back then?
No,
I
he
was
wasn't.
I was doing photography.
He was doing
just
photography, but
not
not, and that's what I
concerts.
mean.
Right,
He was
yeah.
doing like landscape or
yeah
objects
Figure
without
skating.
arms and stuff,
non-objects.
right? Objects with no legs and shit.
Objects with no legs. No arms, no head.
Oh, that's my favorite type of person. You just get what you need. Never mind.
my
That's,
God.
Basically.
That's a
anyways.
bad joke.
Yeah.
Then we meet again at Sabrina's house.
Yes.
Yeah,
The pool party.
Yeah, the pool party.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
then
we
we
were
just
talking about
started talking.
cigars
He was
for
like,
like an
"Yo,
hour.
like I actually need somebody. Like, could you help me out with some video I need to do?" And it's like, well, what are you shooting? He's like, well, I'm doing this Rolling Stones song, and I like want to play it outside.
Yes.
And I
dude.
want to like do several locations, and I'm like,
So this was our music
I'm-
video.
yeah.
Like this was
Okay.
our
yeah,
our
that was,
thing,
that
right?
was like
Right.
the music video, and
Yeah.
That's cool.
And I was like, okay, like I'm not really thinking anything of it. Yeah, sure, I'll help you. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
as a friend, like I wasn't charging him. I was just like, I'll help you, like film
Yeah.
it, right? It's like I just need somebody to put the tripod on and like turn on the recording button.
Yeah.
That was
And
it?
That turned into
Landon was over the.
Yeah.
Ga-ding, ga-ding, ga-ding,
Yeah.
ga-ding, ga-ding.
but then that shoot turned into we went to Downsview Park.
We went everywhere.
Yeah, we went everywhere.
Oh.
It turned into like, oh, you see that hill? You know the big hill at Downsview Park?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And we were like, I was like, dude, what if we got like the drum set all the way up there, and like you have,
Oh, that's
like,
brutal.
you have like the whole city,
the
behind
whole
you.
cityscape behind you.
Gee.
Did you have to,
At
And,
sunset.
and he's
too.
like, dude, let's fucking do it.
Is this
We
video
love-
online?
so-
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the Rolling
Never
Stones
seen it.
had released. What's the name of the song now? Crisscross.
Crisscross.
So it was like a B-side on whatever record that wasn't going to make it, but the song was done.
Well,
and
basically,
then
it
they
was
just
I felt
released
like
it.
they just played it live. It was one of those songs that play
Well,
live. but
that's the
there's
thing.
no
It was never
recording.
released. It was one of those like B-sides, right? And then I had that idea, and the first shoot, which you'll see my old elementary school in Bolton, St. Nick's Elementary. Shout out to
I played soccer in
Miss
Bolton
Dina.
once.
Yeah, I'm
it's a
sorry,
great-
man.
it's a
I'm sorry
great
that
area.
happened. But so the first shoot was with my best friend Daniel. Shout out to Daniel.
Shout out to
Waller.
Daniel.
That's like shout out number 17 by
Dorta's
now.
photographer.
No,
And we did the shoot
No,
there,
no.
and it was the same thing. I was like, I can't like press record and be here at the same time. Do you want to just come with me? Just carry the light stuff as I bring in a whole drum set around.
In the
you know?
meantime, we're carrying a bass drum up this
Bass
hill.
drum, snare,
Yeah,
hi-hat,
Oh,
cymbal,
hi-hat, cymbal,
throwing
stands,
all the stuff, little carpet, everything, and then all the
Jeez.
camera gear.
camera
All
gear.
the dedication.
And that was like when we clicked, really. Like Ian
And
was
we were
like,
in
"Oh,
Oakville,
this
too.
guy is serious." I'm like, you know, I don't want to say serious. Like,
But
oh,
there's
like he
a-
actually helped me.
Yeah.
But
You know
there's
what I
a
mean?
difference between like clicking with someone as like a working relationship and then clicking as friends.
It
Well,
was
that's
the
the-
thing
that's
is
the
it was
catalyst,
like it was
right?
like
That was the
So
catalyst.
it was like
that's where you clicked as a
simultaneous.
working
though.
relationship.
Yeah, and that
Where
just
did
kinda
it
drove
transition?
everything else.
But where did it transition from being, hey, we're just working together, to like, hey, do you want to come over and hang out at my house
it's
for a
weird
beer?
because like him and I had hung out 2 times prior through some other event, right? Like
Right,
the
the pool
gig
party,
and the
yeah.
pool party. When we first met up we were in Oakville or Downsview first. No, we were in Oakville first. We went to
Oakville
Lions
first,
Park and we shot at like this huge like hill cliff thing.
Yeah, there's like
right?
a cliff and a ravine under Voss.
And then this like staircase into this like forest and everything. and we were working together, but it's not like we were in the sense of like, okay, you have your brand and I have my brand and we're going to partner together and share networks. It was literally just like, want to help me do this video? And it was more like two friends helping each other do the work, not two people partnering to do the work to eventually become friends. Like, this is what I mean. Like, that day, I was like, I feel like I've known this dude for time. Like, I showed up to the parking lot in Oakville and took my gear out, and we just started talking music. We weren't even talking from a sense of, like, trying to get to know the guy. It was just, like, shooting the shit. Like, it was so, like, authentic and organic. Like, it was just so just normal.
Between me and him.
Yeah,
we
like,
started working.
well, that's what I mean. Like, you guys spent 13 hours together. You know what I mean? You were not like, okay, so what's like? Do you get 1,000 followers
I remember
per week?
we were talking about music.
We're just chatting.
I had
you know?
nothing better to do.
Well, this is the thing, right? And by the time we finished it, we finished that shoot, and we were walking down the hill. We were walking down the hill, and I was like, man, like this guy's like literally carrying the gear up the hill, like not even like being
Look at
like
those arms.
You know what I mean?
He's one guy.
Big jacked man, you know. He's big Strongs man.
Strongs,
You know?
like bull. Strongs is a bad
like
word.
bulls.
Oh, what does it mean? Does it not mean
Strongs
strong?
like a asso.
Yeah,
Oh
strong,
no, that's
yeah.
not true.
He's a
Strong,
But I feel
capo.
like you were,
Nice.
I thought you were doing like a Swedish or like a Russian accent.
No, like Strongs. You know,
I'm a
thought Strongs meant strong.
I'm a stronzo. I'm just a stronzo.
But yeah, like it was that day, and I'm like, man, this guy's willing to just do the work to just get for the final product. You know what I mean? Just to have that. So I was like, man, I'm like, this guy needs to be on everything that I'm ever a part of, however way possible. Because this is the thing, right? When you're a musician, you're playing your instrument or you're in your band or whatever. 80% of the time, you're more concerned with that part. What's the rehearsal like? Am I ready for it? What's the gig like? There's all these other things that have to happen that you won't spend as much time focusing on, and those are requirements as well to being an artist in the semi-digital, semi-live age right now. You know,
course.
and this is partly why I wanted to have this podcast episode because it's like you can be the musician that does the music sort of half-assed because you have to also do the photography, the videos, and that's also half-assed, or you can be the musician that focuses on everything that you do well. And then get somebody to work with you.
Because you do need
that
a
can cover
team.
everything else. You
do
need
need a team.
Everybody
One
needs a
person
team. Just
can't
get
take
in the
on
door.
everything.
You need exactly, and it works best like when you have a relationship that you guys have, a relationship that we have, right? Or even like relationship between me and Landon and so, right?
It also works strongly like from the musician side. It works to create your brand, and I see this a lot where like I see a lot of like friends that I have that are musicians that they'll work with one person, and then they'll work with another person,
like
then
they're
another
shopping
person,
around,
and then everything looks so different that I'm just like I can't get an idea of who you are as a person because everything looks so different.
Yeah,
and
and that translates into the essence, right? Like
100%.
So it's like, who do you really want to be? I get a theme, right? Like I get if you're releasing a single or an album, and this is the theme of the album, and you're shooting that theme.
Yeah.
You can see that there's a theme, but when you have a grid of 9 posts and every 3 looks different, then you see like, okay, what's going on here?
Yeah, right? And it's also the thing of feeling comfortable with who you're shooting with. Like, I don't know about you, but I don't know how many times you've done a photo shoot or a video shoot, but some people don't do it all the time, so they don't feel the most comfortable.
Right.
Yeah.
Right? But if you have a friend like Leo, you're like, I could get naked in front of this guy and I'd be totally fine.
Well,
right?
he does it really well because even if we're just hanging out like as friends, he'll have it with him. Like Landon, our good friend Michelle, shout out to Michelle, shout out number 18, yes. We had like a hangout
There should
day.
be like a counter of how many.
Yo, that's what I mean. We got a tally,
we
man.
get a tally.
Sometime we hit 20. The last person to get shout out, you have a free T-shirt. There you go. So we went to downtown Camera. And we went to Mystic Muffin and we bought a cake. And
Shout out Mystic Muffin.
Shout out
that
Mystic
was a good
fucking
cake.
Muffin, bro. Great cake, $18 or something like that. And it was like a huge slab. It was really good.
Wow.
But this is the thing, like Landon was using one of Leo's cameras and Leo had his camera and he's just taking photos just to take photos. And then we put them on our, our like close friends story or our spam account or just in like a little group chat to just have, And when you're around Leo for enough time and he's always taking a photo of you and be like, oh, here's some film photos of you. Or even like my birthday party that I had, like December 18th of last year, right? Like everybody is just like so comfortable. And he does it so well because like this birthday party, for example, within the first hour, you know, these are all my high school or elementary school friends, and then all my new friends from like the industry, like all together. And so the first hour is everybody getting acquainted, you know, meeting my parents or my cousin Anthony or whatever the case is. My parents are fantastic people.
You want
I
to meet
love
everyone's parents, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, for real. He's got this whole like
Parents love me.
little parent thing going on. You know? But like within the first hour or two, you know, Leo's breaking out the camera and somebody's having a drink and you know you're loosed up, right? You're feeling buzzed or whatever, and he's taking a photo and everybody's happy. And then next thing you know, by the time we could take the group photo, nobody's like, you know what I mean? Nobody's like sardine and acting weird, right? And
that's one of the things I love the most about photography is moments. Just moments, right? You know, you can be illustrative, you can be creative, you can be all that you want to be. You can take a perfect shot, but it's always a moment in time that's kind of what catches your final attention. It's like, you know, remember when we did this? Oh, like that photo reminds me of that. Remember when we were here? Remember when we were there? Remember when we did this? Remember that one time that you got lost? You know what I mean?
Yeah. So profound.
So profound.
And that's like,
No, yeah, and I mean that's why a lot of people nowadays are turning to like the film cameras or the point and shoots because it is about creating memories. And honestly, it is like you're just walking around with your friends, you're taking photos, and it is that whole like nostalgic feeling of being able to have the film photos. Yeah. And being able to like load in the film and then take all of these photos.
Oh man, let me tell you, I have an unhealthy relationship with film.
Yo, it's so
unhealthy.
Why?
I just can't because it's so expensive.
Always,
it's so expensive.
And you just it's like a drug.
It's like $1 a photo.
And you know, like it's like a lot of people
Is it really $1 a photo?
Sometimes more expensive.
Polaroids usually.
What are you shooting with?
35mm. That camera right there. That's an EOS 5.
What film?
Yo, Landon, hop in front of the camera, bro. Take those headphones off. Hop in front of the camera, man.
Okay.
Basic stock.
As long as it doesn't go out of focus.
I have a friend who shoots with Cinestill. Now that gets
What is this camera?
It's expensive. Cinestill.
What is this camera?
That's a Canon EOS 5.
Nice. Shout out to Landon. Landon! Woo!
That is later model or early model EOS camera, so it actually takes the modern lenses, the modern EF ones.
Oh, cool.
But it shoots 35mm film.
Dumb.
So it's like what, early 90s, something like that. I actually found it Burlington camera. Shout out Burlington camera. That's the 20th one.
Yeah, there you go. Burlington camera wins a t-shirt. As soon as we start
basically
making
nobody ever used it. It was super clean, super well taken care of, and I couldn't pass it up. And that was during quarantine. Quarantine just started this whole thing with film
interesting.
for me.
Yeah.
So before quarantine, you weren't shooting film.
I wasn't shooting film at all. I was shooting Polaroid. So I have an obsession with like Polaroid photos.
I love
just because
those.
it's like
I
it's
wanted
fun
to,
at
but
parties.
it's the other thing. Like it's so expensive.
It is expensive.
Because it's a lot of fun at parties. You just take your Polaroid, you kind of like Polaroid guide, everybody takes their photos, done, right? Everybody brings their memory with them.
Yeah.
And actually, I do have an account that's just Polaroids of pictures that I've taken. It's called @the Instant Film Co.
Yeah. All right, man.
Which is all Polaroid. Like I haven't really been active on it lately, but I kind of want to go back to it because that was just like kind of part of what I used to like to do, just regular life photos, right? And then film came along, and now it's an addiction. I have a fridge.
Oh, you have
I have a freaking fridge.
I have a fridge too.
I bought a fridge.
No,
off
you have
of
to keep
Facebook
the film in the
Marketplace.
fridge.
Eggs.
Yeah.
What?
Because
Explain this to me.
temperature,
Yeah.
Okay, so
The lights can ruin film.
There's very few manufacturers nowadays that actually produce
Yeah.
photography film.
So when you say film, pardon my ignorance, you mean like printing them? Like what do you mean?
like the little
Like the roll of
canister
film?
with like that you put in the back of a camera that's like it looks brown. That's basically like your physical photo.
Bro, you know what that is?
The cup of coffee. Yeah, I was trying to, translate it in my Italian
technique,
word.
I'd put
Apparently
one
in
up.
Italy they don't shoot film.
I mean, they do. I just don't know what's the word for it. Anyway.
Film.
Film. Película.
Película. ¿Cómo se llama en
No,
español?
but that's movie.
No, película in Spanish.
Film in Italian.
It means film.
Yeah.
Película is film. Like
But I would translate that to English to movie.
no, because movie comes from moving picture. That's what a movie is. When that's how it started. It was literally single photographs strapped together, like at a certain
I
speed.
get that.
Right?
Yeah.
A movie is just like just a short way to say moving picture or
Okay,
motion
makes
picture,
sense.
right?
Yeah.
But the film, like you say film, you say, oh, it's a film. It's because it was, I don't know how that kind of got into the lingo, but
Yeah.
film is
whatever.
the actual component of the photo. It's It's still film.
yeah.
It's
I
like,
think it's the plastic, the film. Yeah.
yeah, it's like it's basically an emulsion between plastics that
Yeah.
is sensitive to light. And whenever you expose it, it exposes what it sees through the lens. That's
Yeah.
what film is, right? That's how like photography.
Science rules, baby.
Oh, it gets
yeah.
even harder.
See, and that's why I
Are
asked.
you
You
developing,
can go on for
are you
hours.
developing it yourself?
Not yet.
Oh, not yet.
Not
So you
yet.
plan to?
I plan to. Oh yes.
That's
Is that
the
a way
way
to
to
it gets
save
harder 'cause
money?
you need specific chemicals.
Yeah.
You need a thing so that
You
the
need a
film
dark
doesn't
room.
get
Is
Is that movie with
exposed.
Jake Gyllenhaal?
Nightcrawler.
Yeah.
Shit,
Landon.
I was watching that yesterday night.
I want to watch that.
I mean, at
I've never
4
seen
a.m. or
that.
whatever, but
yeah.
wow, that's crazy.
But yeah, quarantine did this thing to me.
Yeah, I
And
feel
now
like that did for a lot of people. Like for me, it's like I started taking YouTube seriously.
Yeah.
I started my company Tritone. I started like
So what do you do on YouTube?
YouTube right now is just like drum covers.
Okay.
I'm going to take it into the world of piano first, because the school that I teach at, shout out to DeGaz on Music and Bolton, number 22. They have a very nice grand piano in one of the rooms. So I want to do a cover of James Blake's version of Godspeed by Frank Ocean.
Oh, that
and
is.
do the piano
Yes.
of that tune.
Very,
And it's
freaking
just
love
like
that
it's just
song.
live off the floor. Like all my YouTube videos are me playing along to the song. Should I give away one of my YouTuber secrets for the sake of garnering the next YouTube drummer?
dun, dun, dun.
So-
for it.
A lot of drummers always question like, how do I get the audio to like play along to the music? And then you upload that music into your DAW, like into what we're using right now, into Logic.
Yeah.
To then record all your mics, but you still need a backing track.
Yeah.
Right? Because you either have Spotify playing at the same time, going through your headphones, plus Logic, and then it's all over the place, right?
Yeah.
Or you just bring the track in. And so a lot of drummers that I know, and I don't know them personally, but drummers that I've seen online that do it, they're like, oh yeah, like I take like a condenser mic like this and I put it to a speaker, and then I record the speaker. So I tried that for a bit, and it's kind of doo-doo. It's kind of caca. But then I found this trick, screen recording the song on your phone. Yeah, airdropping or preferably airdropping the video to whatever device you use to
Interesting.
record. Take that video, upload it to to your DAW, but only extract the audio. Don't import the movie, and the audio quality is perfect.
Perfect. Yeah, I've done that for.
Absolutely perfect.
Screen recording.
I've done that for like
Yeah.
TikToks.
For screen recording, it's amazing.
Have you ever
So-
heard of a guy named? I mean, he doesn't. I don't think he makes YouTube videos anymore. But his name was Ricky Ficarelli. He's a drummer on YouTube. I've been watching YouTube for years.
I know
He had like
that
long
last name,
hair.
I feel like that last name could just be some guy from Woodbridge or something. Like Ficarelli, in the meat
Pretty
department at
much.
Fortino's or whatever.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
He got like cancer and then stopped doing YouTube.
Oh wow.
man.
Yeah.
That took a turn, man.
I mean,
But yeah, right now the YouTube is only been drums. I did a couple YouTube videos as a kid, and then it was like way too much work.
that was me,
Being
yeah.
like grade 9 or whatever, I was like, screw this. I did a cover of like Viking Death March, like whenever that came out by Billy Talent, and then I maybe one or two other crappy like GoPro videos, maybe a live video here and there from like the Rock Pile or something.
Yeah.
And then my Humber College audition was via YouTube, so I made the video, did my
Oh,
whole
cool.
like audition, like one 16-minute video or whatever. Got into Humber and did all that, and then quarantine hit. I was like, man, I have all this time on my hands, and I need to be doing something somehow to get in front of people.
Yeah.
So I just started doing like YouTube covers.
interesting.
And, eventually, yeah, like soon enough, hopefully by the end of February, I'll have that Godspeed cover, a little bit
Wow.
of guitar. I've done some guitar stuff on like Instagram stories, like Rosie by John Mayer or
Yeah.
Honeybee by Unknown Orchestra.
Rosie.
Great tune.
All right.
But
Would
I
you
want to
ever
do something a
post
little
those-
bit more.
Would you ever post the exact same videos on TikTok?
Oh
Because,
yeah,
like, I'm
well
someone
that's
who-
what I do. Like
Like,
my
I took a
drumming
TikTok
videos.
during quarantine.
Yeah, well
Like,
I know
was
that's what
doing
gave
it-
you.
I
and
was
we were-
doing it almost every day for an entire year.
Yeah.
And I got a job from it. I had 18,000 followers in a year.
Yeah.
Like, it was pretty damn crazy. And I feel like for musicians specifically, because the photography side of it, you gotta get very creative and think of ideas. And it's really hard to come up with multiple ideas. But as a musician, you just grab any song that's popular
Yeah.
right now and just make a cover of it.
Cover it. You can do an illegal mashup. Like people do it all the time now.
Yeah.
That's how
Illegal
DJs
mashup.
Well,
Yeah,
mashups
have you
are
seen
like,
those?
mashups are the biggest on
Go
TikTok.
together.
Yes,
going
like
together.
the vocals of Everlong with like the
Right.
drum beat from
Well,
like
one of the
I don't know,
craziest.
like
I'll have to
name
show
it
you
like I don't know,
afterwards.
Simon and Garfunkel or whatever. You know what I mean? It's like, how does this work? Well, the DJ knows that they're either in the same key or same tempo,
Yeah.
or they can pitch and match it, and then it works. You know,
Huh.
and this is how a
100%.
lot of
One
DJs
the
get
songs-
gigs.
One of the songs that I use on like one of my most popular like series on TikTok was a mashup. It was a Kanye West song and something else. I can't remember what.
Was it the one with Kendrick Lamar off of Section 80?
Yes.
It's like the sky is falling, the wind is done,
Yes.
Section 80, and then it plays Devil in a what is it? Devil in
Yes, yeah, that's exactly it.
a midnight dress or a red
Midnight
dress
Dress.
or something like that.
Because that was the
Yo,
trend.
because that was the
'Cause it
album cover
would-
trend.
And I did.
I
I did
love
10
that.
of those. I did 10 of those. Because every time I would make a video, it would blow up.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. Well, that
But the song-
audio did
yeah.
so much for people. Like that was crazy.
100%.
You know?
I really
I think
want to
I
get back
have-
into
yeah.
it
Yeah.
because like there's a lot that TikTok can help you. It is stressful. It is a lot of work.
Well,
But
yeah.
as is anything, we all chose to be entrepreneurs.
Yes,
and
yeah,
we
it's
all
true.
chose to be in a line of work that is unconventional
And commission-based.
isn't meant to make you money.
Yes.
Like, you're-
Maybe
you're not
not,
going
but if
in
you're
as-
not gonna try.
Yeah,
you're
exactly.
gonna try, but
Yeah.
you can. I
Yeah.
think we live in a day and age where, and I was having a conversation with a friend last night about this, is we live in a day and age where you can make money doing anything if you're really dedicated to it,
Yeah.
and you're good. One
Yeah.
thing is, don't be delusional. Because
100%.
we've all seen American Idol, we've all seen those talent shows where that one person goes up on stage
Yeah,
and
that
they're like,
one
my mom loves
performance,
me,
yeah.
my girlfriend says I'm great, and
Yeah,
then they
yeah,
sing and you're
exactly.
like, what the hell is this?
Yes.
Please stop
it's
what
true.
you're doing.
And it's true. And Dave Grohl had a good point about that. How like somebody that could actually have like, you know, maybe they're not born with the most amazing voice.
Yeah.
Right. You can definitely learn how to hold a tune and write something
Well-
in your style. But somebody will go on a show like that, get completely, you know, flabbergasted, completely crushed by Simon Cowell or whatever
Well,
his
he's
name
just
is, right?
blunt.
Right, yeah.
Exactly, and then they just give up, and you don't know what artists you're possibly missing out on. Like a lot of my favorite artists that I listen to right now are not gifted singers like Adele or
No.
Ariana Grande or
Yeah.
you know whatever.
Because there's a lot of
Turnstile. Turnstile is a super good example of this.
oh, thank you.
Because there's a thing right now a lot, and it did happen a lot with like the SoundCloud rappers, however you feel about them, and a lot of like the emo.
Like
The
trap.
emo like
Yeah.
rappers
Yeah.
like Lil Xan
Yeah.
or stuff like that is that they have the perfect imperfect voice where
Yes.
it
Yeah.
doesn't sound great but it sounds good enough behind the
This
right
is- this
beat,
is bands
behind the right lyrics,
Yeah.
and all of that. It makes for a good song.
Well, this is bands like NoFX, Bad Religion,
Oh,
Blink-182. You know what I mean?
well,
like,
Blink-182, they have the weirdest way of singing.
it's like talk singing, but then
Yeah,
you hear
talk singing,
Mark and
that's what I
Tom
was
sing at the
telling
same
you.
time, and it's like this harmony that's like, this shit's good.
Yeah.
You know? And
Well,
this
most
is the thing,
punk
right?
music
It's-
is talk singing.
right, exactly.
They're not
actually
melodic.
belting a note.
They're not
yeah.
melodic. It's like they're singing. They're
But that's
talking.
the style, and this is what I mean. Like this is, and I love that you said like the don't be delusional idea because
Yeah.
it's like this is what really allows people to be like, if this is something you really want to do, be aware of all the cards that are on the table and
Exactly.
play your hand to your benefit. And this is funny because the next podcast episode that we're going to be doing here on the Flat Five is going to be the sort of like conceptual and philosophical launch of my label Sharp 4. And the whole point of this label, which I eventually want to get away from the word label and maybe move into something more like an agency or organization because we're not a bank. That's just a fact. But what it is, it's getting people to understand where they can find like financial sustainability and longevity in any career in the creative industry, regardless of what it is, right?
That's
There are
cool.
musicians who, you know, have a day job from October to February because their band's writing a record, and then they get to leave that job, whatever it is, and then go tour from April to November,
Oh,
or April
100%.
to September,
I just
right?
need to cut you
and
off
you can
there.
do that. Go ahead.
I have a band that I know. They're called the Free Label Love. Not sure if you guys know who they are.
I know the drummer. Daniel.
Daniel. Well,
yeah,
he used
I was
to
just
be the
hanging out with
drummer.
him. Oh, he used to? I
used
didn't
to be
know.
the drummer. He loved
I
the
just saw
drummer.
him at Fam Jam.
Oh, amazing.
on my birthday, yeah.
He's great.
Love
shout
that
out,
guy.
Shout out to Daniel. Daniel
Yeah.
number 2.
Yeah, Daniel number
Probably
2.
number 3.
Probably number 3
Or
right now.
number
yeah.
3 because I'm here.
Yeah,
My
exactly.
name is Daniel.
Shout out number 23.
Anyways, yeah, they do exactly what you were kind of saying there.
Yeah.
Is that during the winter, and they're doing it currently right now, is that they'll work on a cruise. So for 4 months, they get onto this like Disney cruise. I don't even know what kind of cruise it is, whatever. They get onto a cruise and they just do a bunch of covers and a bunch of stuff for 4 months. And then when they come back to Toronto during the summer, they just do their own personal stuff. They're working on their band's music. They're in the studio. They're doing their band stuff. But they do that cruise so that they can make money to afford to do everything in the summer.
Well, and this is the thing. Groups like the Free Nationals with Anderson .Paak have the exact same story. Like, they would go from, what did they say, like April all the way to September, either playing their own shows or doing weddings. And they did tons of weddings all across the U.S. because they were a full band. Anderson .Paak's a great singer. He can do pop and R&B, so the entire, wish list of songs from the bride and groom are already in there, right?
Yeah.
And then you do that while you play your own shows, and then the winter comes and you write another Anderson .Paak record. And they did that for 4, 5, 6 years, and then he became Anderson .Paak. And it's like, that's how you find a way to be sustainable in your career. Because the Motley Crue story just isn't going to happen anymore.
No, not at all.
It's just not. And you wouldn't want to play that level of risk. Like, why would you want to do that now?
When you say
It
the
just doesn't
Motley
make sense.
Crue story, you can bring up the whole tracking back to like Travis Barker and the way that he started his own DTA records. He started signing a bunch of like the TikTok kids. So a lot of like the TikTok kids are now signed under Travis Barker. One of the biggest, I think right now, his name is Jaden Hostler. He goes by JXDM.
I know him.
His first ever tour, he got signed. Well, originally he got signed to DTA Records with Travis Barker, and then his first ever tour was with Machine Gun Kelly.
Damn. But this is what I mean, right? At that point, like, he's not somebody that had to go live in a van and go out there and work. But that kid did nothing.
He was a child. He's 19.
But that's the thing. It's like he may not have the experience. He may not even have like the natural gift to sing. He's just doing what he needs to do to be sustainable in his career. Right? Like, some of the best session drummers out there, no one knows their name. Why? Because they'll do 8 songs in a day. They have their kit set up and everything's ready to go, and people pay them, instead of $1,000 for a song, you pay them $100, and they do a whole bunch, and they just do what works the best for them. This is how you be sustainable, right?
What type of musician or artist do you want to be? If you want to be an artist in the background, like my old roommate, he was a session artist, and he would play for a bunch of artists. And he got to a point in his life where he's like, I finally want to do something for myself. But the way he was making a living as a musician was he was working for everyone else. Like, he was on every person's album, but it was never his music.
His own thing.
His own thing. So, I mean, it kind of depends what type of artist you want to be. If you want to be in the limelight, then you've got to be on Instagram, TikTok, Snapchat, all of these social media platforms to put your name out there. But if you don't, you could just sit down and make a couple $1,000 a month and you're good.
And this is the thing, right? It's all about finding it. And so I'm glad that more musicians today, more creators today are recognizing like the best course of action before they just go willy-nilly doing something. And like I said, this is exactly what the Sharp 4 is going to be about, which we will dive into on the next podcast. But to wrap things up, because we've been here for some time, thank you guys sincerely for coming on the podcast.
Thank you for
this has been a fantastic sort of rebranding and relaunch of the show, and I'm of course very excited for what you guys have going on. Is there anything new happening? New music?
We just did a photo shoot the other day, and we shot a music video last week for a new song that's coming out. It's called Whistle Song. Some people have told me to change the title. Some of our friends. I don't know. I kind of like it.
I like it too.
I've been thinking about it. Yeah. And so I have the single coming out in a month from now.
Okay, nice.
I believe.
So I don't think I think you're the one that hasn't given the Instagram handle.
Right.
Oh, neither did I.
Oh, you haven't either? Oh, sorry. I thought you did.
I was gonna go back to this, but when he said truffle, I cut him off and I asked him why truffle.
Right.
I don't even think I even answered that question.
Well, it is at truffle, and yours. What are both of your Instagram ads?
Mine is actually kind of funny. So not funny, but it's Dorta's Photography. My first name, so that everyone knows, is Daniel, not Dorta. So I made the handle in high school, Dorta's, without an apostrophe after the S, signifying that it's my photography.
Right.
Dorta is my last name. Daniel is my first name.
Oh, I
I have
see.
a lot of people who literally, oh, Dorta. Oh, hey, Dorta. I'm like, that's not my name.
Yeah.
But thank you.
I mean, it's
And
like,
then what's yours?
Well, my name is Alessandro. First of all, not Alejandro. Half of the people in
Wrong
Toronto call me
language.
Alejandro.
Wrong language.
Which I like, but yeah. And the Instagram is Alice Mont Music.
Nice.
Don't call my name. Don't
There you
call
go.
my name. Alejandro.
Wonderful. Well, of course, we look forward to the song coming out and the video that you guys have done together,
Of course.
and all the photography.
Yes.
If you guys want to come back on and talk about the tune more in depth about the song to promote it on the show, by all means,
I mean, it's
be
not
happy
my
to have
song.
you
I know
back
nothing
on.
about it other than he whistles.
Yeah, then he whistles.
I
Ah,
can't
whistle
whistle.
song.
I
That's
can't
what it
even
is.
whistle for the life of me.
Right.
Oh,
There you go.
that's the best I can do.
Are you whistling or
It's like
blowing?
ASMR. Yeah. All right,
Just
well,
plug the
thank
mic.
you guys again for coming on the show. For everybody watching, thank you for listening to the first podcast of the year. Make sure you follow all of their social handles. Keep an eye out for everything that they release, as well as make sure to stay tuned for the next podcast about the Sharp 4 record label. And with that, we will sign off. Landon, you can take us away, buddy.
Deuces.
See you later.
Peace
Back.
out.